Good evening, how you doing? My name is Richard. This is Over and Over and Over Again. We've got a slightly different show for you tonight, actually. Usually we are doing the Arsenal review on a Monday, looking back on the Premier League game at the weekend and what have you, but obviously there's no Premier League games this week, so we thought we'd do something a little bit different. It's something that I've been wanting to do for a little while, actually. We have got some of the guys behind the Dial Square FC Breakaway Football Club from Arsenal, so we're going to get them on the channel and we're going to have a little chat about Dial Square FC. It's going to be good, this. Stay with us. And I'm pleased to welcome Marc and Dave, of course, from Dial Square FC. Good to have you guys on the channel. You okay tonight?
Yeah, good evening.
Minded. I mean, obviously, you're both originally Arsenal fans, I'm assuming. That's where you're from originally. What sort of, I mean, start with you, Marc. What's your history of sort of supporting Arsenal? When did it start and all that kind of stuff? And where did it sort of...
My dad's an Arsenal fan, so he was born in King's Cross. He took me to games in like 77, 78. There was like some evening games against Lokomotiv Moscow, when the Liverpool, Southampton, and then from the age of 13, 14, would just go to most home games back when you could just pay your £3, go and stand on the North Bank, and it was like proper football. And then I think I moved to Portsmouth once I had my kids, and I just haven't really been back since. And I've been twice to the Emirates. It was literally like going to the theatre, really. It was like everyone was going just for a bit of a show.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, that's what it's become, hasn't it? I mean, Dave, what about yourself? How did you get into Arsenal in the first place?
I was, mine goes back generations. My great-grandfather was groundsman at Highbury and used to live just on Gillespie Road, just behind the North Bank. And when he died back in the 1920s, about 100 years ago now. And to give the widow an income, like my great nan, they let her wash the kit twice a week in the back garden with a washboard and a mangle. And when my nan grew up, she then met my granddad in the army, who was an Islington boy. So, yeah, I was an Arsenal fan long before my dad was born.
Wow. And when did you first go to Highbury and watch a game?
My first game was 1978. My granddad took me, and it was in the East Stand. I remember it was the East Stand because when I looked right, it was dark, and when I looked left, it was light. That's the visions I can remember. So the dark would have been the covered North Bank, and the clock end would have been the light open ends. And we sat in the unreserved seating, as it used to be, in the East Stand. And it was against Bristol City. And I remember my granddad, before the game, went down on one knee and he said, "Listen here, boy, what you see here will stay with you the rest of your life." And absolutely right. And, you know, you see that, you ever seen Fever Pitch where the kid walks out and goes, wow. You know, that's probably what most of us felt. And that was it. I was in love with the place from then onwards.
Yeah, I think it's that thing, is it? The first time you go to Highbury, when the first time you can see the pitch as you go in. I mean, my first game was on the North Bank, and walking up them stairs and you get that view of the pitch for the first time. It's like, wow, there's nothing like it. It was never nothing like it, was there? Highbury was unique, wasn't it? As a ground, you know, no matter what ground you went to, there was nothing like Highbury at all, was there, anywhere? And even less so now, because all the modern stadiums are the same, aren't they? Which kind of leads.
It was just class. It was just a design, and it just oozed class. It's hard to explain now, but like I say, it was different. It weren't a bowl. It had the different. Every stand was relatively different. You had the outside when you walk up, or when you used to walk down here and see the cannon on the side of the stand. It just, everything about it was, and I always speak of it like a feeling. When you go to the game, it was a feeling.
Yeah. It was. And, no matter what they've tried to do at the Emirates in terms of trying to, put parts of the history at the club there, you're never, ever going to get that. Never. It's not possible to do because, one, it hasn't got that history. And two, even if in 100 years' time, and it will have history, it still won't have that same tradition and that same uniqueness that Highbury had, will it? And there was never, ever going to be able to recreate that. And I personally think, and I think maybe you guys perhaps feel the same for what's kind of where you've gone with it since, is that since we moved out of Highbury, it's not the same Arsenal that it was before that. It's a totally different club. And,
I think that makes
you said, once it's there forever, isn't it? And it is part of us. And it's like, you'll never get rid of that, but it's not the same. And it's like, it's easy to get detached from it now, isn't it, than it used to be. definitely much easier to do that. And obviously what you guys have done with this new club, I mean, where did that kind of come from? Was it from a disillusionment with modern football, with the way Arsenal were heading? Is that where it sort of started from, really, starting this new club up?
Yeah, it's before we answer this question, not one of us speaks for everyone at Dyle. We've all got slightly different twists, slightly different stories or personal experiences, but it is all under the umbrella of just disenchanted with, I'll always be an Arsenal fan. I'll be an Arsenal fan till the day I die. I'll support the 11 on the pitch. It don't matter to me who they are. I'll support the manager, the coaching team. I just don't agree with us being used as a cash cow, and it is something that's in the modern game, in the elite game, not just Arsenal. And I think fans are on the sharp end of it. That's what the big umbrella of Dyle Square is, if you like. But we've all got slightly different, like I say, experiences or stories to tell on why we got on board. Yeah,
I mean, Mark, what's your kind of story then with it? What kind of got you involved in the Dyle Square kind of setup, really?
I had a mate of mine lives in Spain. He sent me the link before the start of last season to become a fan owner. So I read it and just thought it looks really good, be a good project to get on board, go along with the journey. And I wanted to get in with the club right at the beginning, basically. So I went along to the first away game, great victory, met Dave and a few of the others there. And that was it. Just went every game last season, the same for this season as well.
I mean, it's a great kind of story, really, for me. I mean, Arsenal fans getting together to form a club based on the origins of Arsenal in the first place. I mean, the one thing that I've always been curious about is there'll be a lot of people that don't maybe understand the Dyle Square connection to Arsenal, because it's, very, very beginnings of the club. It's not like, say, for example, FC United of Manchester's clearly got Manchester and United in their title. It's obvious that they're a connection to that club. But with Dyle Square, unless people understand the history of Arsenal, where it came from, it wouldn't necessarily spring out as being an Arsenal, connected to Arsenal in any way at all. I mean, was there any temptation to maybe name it something with Arsenal in the title of it, or did you want to steer away from that on purpose? And is the Dyle Square thing a definite attempt to have done that?
It was more about the origin of the values of the club rather than the name. We want to make it clear that we're not anti-Arsenal at all. Completely the opposite. We'll always be Arsenal fans, but it was more a case of going back to the traditions, making it more of a community, making sure the fans come first, rather than this multi-million-pound business that we've got at the moment. So to call it Dyle Square, where it originally we were formed, that just seemed like the logical option.
Yeah, I mean, it is a great way. It's a great name for a club, isn't it? And it's a shame that I think Arsenal only played one game, didn't they, as Dyle Square originally, and then changed the name to Royal Arsenal. So you've played more games as Dyle Square than Arsenal actually did, which is quite good, isn't it?
Been around longer than the original one. Yeah, I think it was about a week when it lasted.
Something and like then, that,
then I met in the pub and that was it.
Yeah. I mean, is that how you started? You all met in a pub and decided to form a club, or was it a little bit more technical than that these days?
I got told mine by my mate at work, James. He came in and he said, because I've been disillusioned for a while. I stopped going regularly to the Emirates in 2010, and that was, I did a little bit of simple maths on the memberships. You see it now because Arsenal are doing well and no one can get a ticket. But back then, when we weren't doing so well, I worked out. And I'm happy to talk about this with anybody, but I worked out that 500,000 Arsenal fans would pay a total of £18 million with no chance of getting a ticket. And I just thought that ain't the Arsenal way. That's not the Arsenal that I fell in love with. So I started doing some different things, and I lived down the road in Tooting. So there were some people at work, and one of my mates said, I think you'll enjoy it. It's more of a personal feel. One thing you realise is you go down the pyramid, down the leagues and down the pyramid, the connection between the club and the fans is a lot stronger. I feel the elite game now, if you're a membership number, then prepare to open your wallet. But as you go down, it's more personal, it's more community. And I went to Tooting Mitcham, absolutely loved it. I know they're in a bit of trouble now and I wish them all the best. But then my mate mentioned Dyle Square, and the Anorak came on, and I went, 1886, blah 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 blah. And he went, no, the club. And I said, what are you talking about? And I looked it up. I did a bit of background on it. And it was a club that Stuart Morgan had set up. And I live now in College Wood, just down the road from Wimbledon. You know, a stone's throw from their new ground, which is a stone's throw from their old ground. So I've seen what a fan-owned club can do with the right people and the right vision behind it. And it's just something that really excited me. And went to the first game, like I say, met Mark and the other lads, and it was just that feeling I spoke about earlier. You got a sense of that again, which is what's badly missing, I felt.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. I mean, I've always kind of followed sort of lower league football. My local non-league team was Dagenham and Redbridge. I used to go there a lot when I was a kid growing up, and that was my first experience of watching football, really. And you're right, that is much more. And even now, it's the same, isn't it? It hasn't really changed that much, has it? Lower league football is still fundamentally what it was 30, 40, 50 years ago, probably even further back than that, because it's the same kind of thing, isn't it? It's lads playing football. All the fans know each other because you live round a corner to the ground, and it's that kind of community feel, isn't it? And it still exists in non-league football and lower league football, doesn't it? And
Definitely.
I've always enjoyed that anyway. That's always, I've always followed non-league football anyway, local teams and stuff like that. So, you know, this kind of thing is really, for me, it's almost perfect, isn't it? For a team that's got deep connections with Arsenal from the guys that set it up, and the name of the club and everything else. It's something that is, I don't know, I find it really exciting that it's there, and it's, you know, you're doing so well, aren't you? I mean, Mark, obviously the club on the pitch are doing well as well, aren't they? It's a very short history that the club's got, but you're doing really well, aren't you, as well?
Yeah, so we've had back-to-back promotions, which has been good. And it's just good seeing the players go playing week in, week out, actually caring, having a bit of passion for the club, and actually wanting to get promoted as well.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think the long-term goal is then? Do you think the club can get into maybe up to the Football League eventually, or do you think that's maybe too ambitious?
I don't know. You've got to be ambitious, otherwise there's no point playing each game, really, is there? If you're just happy staying in the league, we just want to get as high as we can, try and get promotion each year, and see where it takes us, really.
Yeah, we got big ambitions. We got the long-term plan was to become a Football League club, fan-owned, a responsible fan-owned Football League club, playing somewhere as close as we can get it, you know, land permitting, as close to the spiritual home in Woolwich as we can get it. That was the long-term plan. And then we had a 5-year plan. We came in at tier 13, if you include the Premiership, so well down the levels. We had a 5-year plan to hit step 6, didn't we, within 5 years, which is step 6 is tier 10. We've done back-to-back promotions, so we're one season off that in our first 2 years. And then in step 6, you get things like FA Cup qualifiers, you can have a turnstile, you can start generating a bit more money, you know, a few more funds that we can inject back into the club to push us a little bit higher towards our main goal.
I mean, that would be quite incredible, wouldn't it, to have an Arsenal-owned fan club in the Football League playing in League Two and beyond that. It would just be incredible, wouldn't it, to see that happen from nothing so recently. I mean, it would be amazing. Marcy's got a question here. He says, "Where do they play?" I missed the beginning today. Yeah, whereabouts is it that you currently play? Because obviously you're not in Woolwich, are you, at the moment?
No, we play the home games at Chertsey's home team, Norwins Lane.
Well, okay. I mean, so that's obviously sharing their ground, I'm assuming. Then,
yeah, we ground share with them. There's no fee to come in. Games are all free. Got some seats there, so we've had some games this season. We had over 100 fans there. Yeah,
and we got in there we got to thank Ian Selly. He was the manager at Chertsey last year, of course. So we started playing at Addleston, which is near where Stuart lives, who set it all up. And Ian Selly played a couple of games for us. It was a pleasure to watch him when he can still ping it onto a 5p coin. They pulled some strings down a deal and got us ground sharing with Chertsey. And I think we're there for the next 2 years, and we might at least.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, at least 2 years.
Wow, I mean that's worked out pretty well. I mean, so has Ian Selly had any other kind of involvement with you? Obviously, apart from helping you get the ground and stuff like that, and playing a few games, has he got any involvement outside of that?
No, nothing at the moment. He played 2 games for us. Scored a great goal, didn't he, Dave?
Halfway line job, right from the centre.
Like chip the keeper.
Wow.
Yeah. He could. I'll tell you what. He could.
Yeah.
He's nearly 50. He could stick it on you put a 20p coin anywhere on a pitch and he'd hit it.
Wow. I mean, you don't lose it, do you, I suppose? You know, I know he maybe there'll be Arsenal fans these days that probably saw he and said he played for Arsenal and thought, oh, he wasn't that great. But to even play at that level, you've got to be an exceptional footballer, haven't you? To even play,
yeah, exactly, yeah.
First team, you know, no matter what you know, who else has played for Arsenal over the years, you know, to even have got to that level, you know what I mean? And I've seen some ex-players that are, you know, you look at the level that they're at and you think, wow, you know, fantastic footballers. And great that he's still keeping himself fit and still able to play football as well. That's pretty good going, isn't it, for him?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, definitely.
He looked after himself, hasn't he?
yeah, he's had to have done, yeah. But,
yeah, no lockdown spread like the rest of us.
Well, that's what it's about, I suppose. I mean, it's good to see that he's still interested as well. I mean, is any other sort of anyone else connected with Arsenal in any way has got involved at all at the moment, or is it still something that you're looking at getting a few more people involved, maybe that have got connections with Arsenal?
Yeah, no one at the moment, is there?
Sorry, Mark.
I said no. There's no one else at the moment, but maybe once you get climb a few, get up at a higher level, maybe even win a cup, you might get one of them interested.
Yeah, there's no ex-players or anything like that involved at the moment, but it's something obviously we're looking at and trying to put the feelers out for. It's mainly the fans and the like the disenchanted, if you like, that we need. We're targeting to try and get into the game, so it generates more interest and you know, hopefully a few more memberships for us to keep the fan owner side building and growing the way we want it to.
I mean, is there fans of other sort of Premier League clubs or other clubs that have kind of got involved in coming to watch the team and stuff like that, or is it just Arsenal fans only?
I mean, I dare say there is. I mean, we don't interview you on the gate and turn you away if you say, you know, unless you say Tottenham, I suppose. But it's like we say, you know, we asked this question the other day. If you're a fan of one of our rivals, for example, you've got to be pretty disenchanted to come and watch us. You know, and that's a story of how the elite game's going, perhaps. If we have had a couple of Tottenham players play for us, and Tottenham fans. Yeah, and if they don't behave themselves, we'll let everyone know. But it's one of them things. You know, it's bigger than just the Arsenal game, like we mentioned earlier. You know, the elite game is just a multi-billion-pound business now, and like you say, the connection I feel is disintegrated between the top clubs and the fans. So if you're in that boat, it don't matter who you support as a Premier team or, you know, whoever, come down and watch us. You know, that's the whole point. That's why we're there. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, I mean, I do feel as though there are a lot of people that have lost a lot of. I don't know. You just feel a disconnection, don't you, from Arsenal? I mean, when I was young, growing up, going to Highbury, and that you did. I know that it was maybe slightly different, but you did feel a connection, didn't you, with everything to do with the club? You know, from the guy who the commissioner on the door at the main stand and stuff like that, and the ex-goalkeeper who used to run the club shop and stuff like that. You know, you could go in there and chat to him, and you felt connected. You know, you could see the players sometimes outside Highbury after training days or stuff, and when they had treatment or whatever it was. If you was at Highbury getting a ticket or something, I bumped into a few players loads of times outside the ground. And they'd sit and chat to you, no problem at all. You know, they didn't need 50,000 bouncers around them, and they didn't have all these big flash cars and stuff like that. It was just, you felt a connection with everything, didn't you? You felt a part of it. I always did. And then as time's gone on, I mean, for me, really, and I know it sounds strange, right? Because we all remember Anfield '89 as being probably the greatest moment in our history, or certainly the greatest single game in our history. And when I look back on it now, I didn't realise it at the time, but I actually think that was the start of the end for me. One, because as time went on, you kind of realised that you was never ever going to experience anything like that again. So almost what's the point? Because that's the peak of everything in football, isn't it? It doesn't get any better than that, and it hasn't done, and it never will. No. And then, of course, then the All-Seater Stadium started, didn't they, very soon after that because of Hillsborough, and everything changed. And I look back now, and I think that for me, it started my kind of journey, if you like, disconnection away from what Arsenal meant to me and what it means now, probably started at that sort of time, 89, 90, 91, and the start of the Premier League, maybe. I didn't realise it at the time because I was going to all the games and you're wrapped up in it. But when I look back now, it probably started about then. And that's when everything did change, didn't it, in football, in this country, in elite football, and everywhere probably, because you had the Champions League starting instead of the European Cup and, like you said, the money and all that kind of thing. I mean, do you remember the bond at Highbury? You know, all them people that bought them bonds for the North Bank.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, I think that's it for me. Like you say, that's the first time someone said that, and I thought, you know what? Yeah, I didn't think of that. Being that 89 season, you know, I always thought it was when the seats went in, and you know, I can remember tipping up. You used to tip up on the North Bank, bit of change in your pocket, you know, pay your money, going, and it was just there would be faces everywhere that you knew, and you know, you go there with a group of mates. At the end of 90 minutes, you could all be 30 yards apart, but you'd be talking to another group. It'd be it was like a community. Everyone was together, and then when the seats went in, obviously the mural come down, and eager to get in there and see what it was like from the North Bank. And I just felt like I was in a school exam. We was all in nice, neat rows, and you were told to sit down. And the one thing I remember more than anything, I couldn't believe how loud the referee's whistle was. Because on the old North Bank, you never really heard it. You know, it was always noisy. And then we went to the Emirates, and that wasn't the legislation. And I just feel it lost even more. You know, a lot of corporates in there, a lot of people that I saw that thought their season ticket was some sort of a status symbol rather than it was something in the blood. And, yeah, it was, you know, like I say, I'll always support Arsenal, but it's just that feeling. Nothing will ever beat that feeling.
No, it won't. It won't. And that's, for me, that's such a shame it is, because, you know, we watch football now and I go to games sometimes, and, you know, I'm a bit like you, really. I definitely don't feel the same way about any of it now as I did. It doesn't mean as much to me as it used to do, because I don't feel as connected to it all. And I do think that, you know, maybe that's helped in a way, because when you slightly pull yourself slightly further away from it, you've got a little bit more perspective, haven't you? You know, when I was wrapped up in it, when I had a season ticket going to every game, literally it was like the end of the world when you'd lost. You don't get any perspective on any of it. Whereas now I can kind of look on it, and if we win the league this year, it's going to be fantastic and I'll enjoy it. But if we don't win the league, it's like, well, there's more important things in life to worry about than if we win the league or not. It'd be great if we do, but I've gained that perspective from maybe having to withdraw from it, really, because it's almost forced me to withdraw from it in the way it's gone. And it's a shame, really, because the football club is always so important, isn't it? It's such a massive part of the community and such a massive part of your life. And it's not now. Arsenal's nothing to do with the community. You walk around North London now, it's not Arsenal area. Arsenal's nothing to do with it, is it? You know what I mean? It's not.
Yeah, you
used to be Arsenal. Highbury. The whole area used to be Arsenal, didn't it? It was Arsenal area. That's what it was, the community. It's not now, is it?
Yeah, you walk down there any day of the week and you see loads of people wearing Arsenal shirts. Any day of the week you walk down there. But yeah, that's all gone. And the other thing is as well, you know, it's just a big business now. And someone mentioned it the other week, didn't they, Mark? It was you know, that Kroenke, if he wanted to, I bet he could just pick Arsenal up and move it to America.
Yeah.
And keep it, you know, if they had the teams over there and it become Arsenal America. You know, that's the shame of it.
Yeah, it is. You're right. And unfortunately, I say unfortunately, I mean, it's good that Arsenal are doing well at the minute, but I mean, I think we all had, you know, the protests and stuff about the Kroenkes when the European Super League and all that kind of stuff. And I know that one of the reasons why the Dial Square was formed was sort of on the back of the kind of Kroenkes being in charge of Arsenal, wasn't it, really? And where the club where they would look like they were taking the club. I mean, do you still feel now, obviously, I know, you know, the success on the pitch and the results on the pitch kind of cloud everything around it to a certain degree, don't they? When the teams win it, nobody thinks about all the other stuff that's going on. Do you still feel that that's a big issue then with the Kroenkes in terms of the long-term future of the club under this leadership?
I personally do. If you look at his other teams he's got, and I hope I'm wrong on this, I really hope I'm wrong, but I think
they don't win anything, do they?
Well, they did, but the season after, absolutely nothing. So if you look at Colorado Braves, I think, in it, didn't they win the Stanley Cup next year? Absolutely zippo. LA Rams last year got to the Super Bowl. They were bottom of the league this year. And I hope he's not just doing it to get people in. The money goes in, the investment goes in, and then that's it. You know, I hope it doesn't happen like that. I hope he is actually, you know, they are actually building something.
You would hope so, really, wouldn't you? Because you would think he's not going to want to invest all that hundreds of millions of pounds on players and then just win something and then lose interest.
Yeah, and the other thing as well, I don't think this Super League's gone away. I really don't. I said at the time, you know, these boys, they don't just wake up in the morning and go, do you know what, I'm going to spend a few billion a day. You know, they've been planning this a long, long time. And I thought it's going to come back in different guises. And I thought it was going to come back when there was that little rumour that you'd get a Champions League spot based on history. And that was when Juventus weren't doing so well. And I thought, here we go, it's just coming in under a different label. And I thought it was going to kick off again with this thing with Man City. I thought they were just, you know what, we're away. You know, because Juventus are in trouble. Barcelona haven't got a penny, have they? You know, Liverpool ain't going to qualify for the Champions League. I don't think Chelsea are going to qualify this year, barring a miracle. And I just got a feeling they've put too much money and too much time already into it just to say, do you know what, we'll forget about it. And I think that's a very scary thing to think about.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I said at the time, even when it got kind of, the idea was kind of put to one side, I actually don't think at that time they were actually seriously going to be doing it. I think they put the idea out there to see what the response would be. When it got so much negativity, they thought, right, okay, we'll put this to one side for a little while because it wasn't the right time, was it? At that time, if you remember, the fans were only just coming back to the stadiums after COVID and stuff, weren't they? And I think the last thing people wanted to be dealing with was all that. And maybe the timing of it was strange for me anyway, the way it came out when it did. And I agree. I don't think it's the end of it. I think it is going to come back and it will be under a different guise. It almost is now because they're increasing the Champions League, aren't they? And they're making it like before the Champions League now, isn't it, starting up?
They're doing some World Cup thing, and I also similar to a World Cup tournament. I mean, that's another guise. How'd you qualify for that?
Yeah, exactly. That's what's happening, isn't it? So it's happening all around us. They're just going to sneak it in through the back door, aren't they? Call it something, or call it the Champions League. And what they'll do, they'll just add to it and have it in the way they want it to be. And the qualification for it is going to change. I would have thought. So that, like you rightly say, what they want is they want those clubs in it. And if they're not going to qualify through the means that we've got at the moment by finishing in the top 3 or 4 in your league, they'll find some other way of getting them into it, won't they? It'll be on historic performance. It'll be on past winners and stuff like that. That's what they'll do.
Yeah, it's going to be. Let's have a look at the bank balance of the chairman. Yeah. That's what it's going to be. Well, let's have a look at the bank balance of the chairman. That's how you're going to get in it.
Yeah, it will. That'll probably come down to it as well, which will be the same clubs that we've always had. And I don't know. I totally agree with that, and I don't like where this is heading. I mean, I haven't liked where football's been heading for a long time, actually, but it seems to be closing in now, doesn't it? All of this, all this that's going on with Man City as well with the Premier League. Suddenly they're bringing these charges against them for stuff that happened years ago. I mean, what's happening with that? You know what I mean? It seems to be so many things at the minute going on that don't seem to make a lot of sense. Why is that happening now when they've known about it all them years before? You know, why suddenly this Super League came out of the blue almost from nothing when football was just getting fans back into the stadiums again? And I don't know, it all seemed a little bit planned.
Oh, yeah. I think COVID probably knocks it out of kilter. It could have come out before then. But perhaps they didn't do it because of COVID. And then as soon as that was out of the way, they got a lot of money riding on it. Let's try it now, But, that City thing, I mean, Rich, me and you set a business up selling, I don't know, second-hand crisps or something. Surely every year you'd have some sort of audit and you'd have to declare everything to the tax man. And they're talking about stuff that's been happening for the last 10 years. So I think this is a big can of worms. Someone's been hiding something.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, maybe.
I think it's a big can of worms here.
You think it's going to affect more than just Man City then? Do you think other clubs will be implemented in it as well?
Yeah,
I mean they will, won't they?
Yeah, they'll be looking at money. You're talking big figures in and out of clubs now. And what you need is you need an alibi. So what have we got? A fan base that demands you spend big amounts of money going in and out. Transfer money. I don't know, mate. I mean, I can't. I don't know exactly what goes on. I'm not in that position, but to me, it's ruined the game. It's like a poison that's in the game at the moment, and it's all around the pound note or the dollar or wherever it's coming from.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, to me, that is the biggest thing that's ruined football, isn't it? You know, since the start of the Premier League, the TV money that's come into the game and what it's done. I can't think of too many things over the last 30 years, too many positives that's come into the game on the back of the money. People will say, oh, we've had better players playing in English football, right? Which you could say that's a positive to a certain degree. But when you think about it, I mean, there hasn't been, has there? What positives really have come out of the last 30 years of the Premier League in this country and the Champions League from the European Cup? I mean, I can't think of too many positives at all. It seems like it's, I don't know, maybe I thought it was just me, but it seems like maybe you guys are on the same kind of the same page as me, which is quite nice.
I think it's come out of fans' pockets, isn't it? That's where a lot of it's coming. You pay for your subscriptions, you pay for your memberships, you pay for the tickets. It's, you know, Kroenke, I guarantee you ain't dipping into his pocket too often. It's coming out of fans' pockets, you know, and round it goes.
Yeah.
I mean, the Champions League, do you get bored with the Champions League?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was
it's
in the
literally
Champions League a long time ago.
The group stages, you literally play the same teams each season. It was better. I like the old European Cup. It was much better, wasn't it?
Yeah, the old knockout. I prefer
knockout stages, winners of each league. Then you knew the winner of the European Cup was the best team from that country for the season before last.
Well, it was for champions.
Yeah, champions. Yeah.
You know, the very title. You know, you don't have to be a champion now to win the Champions League.
No, finish fourth and still win it.
Yeah, I mean, the Champions League is almost, that should be like Trey's description, because it's nothing to do with champions, is it?
No, not really.
The league, it's just a cup competition. They might as well just call it the European League Cup or whatever it is. That's should be what it's called, because that's what it is. And they give it this fancy name. It's a bit like American football, call it the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? It's like nothing super about it. So it's almost like the same with the Champions League, isn't it? It's completely. It's got the wrong name. But anyway, it sums up modern football for me, really. And I say that's one of the reasons why I've been really kind of interested in your club, what you've done, because to me that is something that I'd like to see happening more and more, with more fan-owned clubs starting up on the back of the disenchantment with modern football. Because I don't know, I kind of want to leave modern football to the younger fans now, and I do think that maybe they enjoy it because it's built for them, isn't it? I think the younger fans. It's not. I don't think that football as it is in 2023, and as it's been for quite a long time, isn't a football I grew up with. Isn't the same experience, and it's not for me. And I feel that there's a lot of people of a similar age that maybe feel the same. So I'm thinking, let's find a way out of it. And what you guys are doing maybe is that way out of it, perhaps for people like myself and others. You know what I mean? Maybe that is the way, because I certainly feel that's really, really strongly. You know, and that's
what we wanted to do. That's exactly what we wanted to do, because it's like you say, the younger fans, it ain't their fault. They don't know any different. Oh. You know, they're all used to VAR now, and you know, and paying silly prices, and and so what you know, our thing at Dial is the fans come first, no matter what. So you know, we've done a couple of days, not every day. I'm going to ocean head, but you know, we've done a couple of days when we're giving away free beers, and we giving away vouchers so you can get yourself a free drink at a bar. It's free to get in at Dial. You don't pay any money. You know, you can sit there and you can stand there and have a drink on the halfway line, can't you? Providing you've got a plastic glass. The clubhouse is right next to the pitch. You know, afterwards, you know, you spoke earlier about, you know, the players are out of reach. Well, not down here, though. They'll be in the bar with us afterwards, and so will the board, the opposition. It's just like one big community, you know. It's like I say, it's that feel, it's that togetherness, something that, you know, is badly missing from the elite game, we feel.
Yeah, 100% it is now. It's definitely been taken away. There's no doubt about that. And you know, if clubs like what you're doing is going to help to bring some of that back, then that's got to be a great thing, and it should be embraced by as many people as possible. I mean, if it's free to get in and everything's free, how's the club making any money? Is it just literally from the fans' involvement and the fans putting money into it every week? Is that how it kind of works?
Yeah, it's what you do is if you go on Dial Square is on 3 ways at the moment. Is that all right, Mark, if I explain it?
Yeah, off you go.
It's you got 3 wings. So Dial Square was set up by Stuart Morgan. He set the club up back in January 2020. He then set up a company called Dial Square Enterprise in May, which is the fan-owned part. So once he had the club all set up, then he was attracting the fan owners. And the way it works is you buy into the enterprise. So if you want to become a fan owner and have a say in how the club's run and vote on anything we want to do and come up with ideas, anything at all, you pay 90 quid for the season. You can pay in instalments. You can pay all in one go. And what it does, it gives you a voice in the club. Now, that owns 15%. Stuart gave 15% of the shares to the enterprise. As we get bigger and go up through the pyramid, more shares he'll relinquish to the enterprise till eventually it'll own 100% of the club. It's run with members, not shareholders. So you can have 105, 1,000,005 people in the enterprise. That will own, at the moment, 15% of the club. But like I say, as we go up higher and the club gets bigger, the shares will relinquish into the enterprise until it is, Dial Square is 100% owned by Dial Square Enterprise.
Wow. So basically, anybody can for that £90 a season, anybody can buy into that.
Anybody, it's got, and you've got flexibility. Like not having shareholders, we don't tie you down to 3 years or 5 years. We don't interview you and say, are you an Arsenal fan? No, sorry, there's a door. If it's bigger than that. It's about the elite game. It's about wanting something, an option, not anti-Arsenal. We're not up against Arsenal. It's an option to come and see like-minded fans. We've got the Arsenal connection with the supporters, and just enjoy yourself. Come and have a game of football and make it a social event rather than, being a spectator.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. So you just renewed it every year, do you? So every season you just is it like a season ticket in a sense? You just renew it every year and you just keep going.
You can do, exactly. I mean, we've just had the voting on the kits for next season, haven't we?
We must say a big thank you to Mahal that sponsored our kits for the last 2 years. Let's come to an end. We've got a new sponsorship deal starting next year with Matty Ollie Woods that sponsor Leicester Tigers. They've sponsored us for the next 2 years. So big investment now. And with it come the new shirts. So we had a vote, then we put it to the fan owners.
Yeah.
Come up with, I think, a cracking class burgundy shirt. Made by Adidas. They turned around at one point and said, we're not making non-league kits anymore, but they're making ours next year. And come on, there's only one colour you can have as an away shirt. So they're the two colours. And that was voted for by the fans. We put a number of options. And the badge as well, we've changed the badge because a couple of people said, about a different design. So Matt, didn't he come up with a few designs? Yeah. And that was voted on as well. So next season, new shirt, new sponsorship, new badge, and in a new division. Step 7, we should be next year.
Wow. Exciting times. Yeah. We've had a few comments coming in all the way through. Loki was in the chat. He says the Plumstead Reds, obviously referring to Woolwich Arsenal back in the day. Terry's a regular on the channel, says I'm the only Woolwich boy here. You lot stole my local club here. He's from Woolwich. But yeah, we've all moved away from there. Loki says there, the view from the top of Avenel Road to die for. Yeah. I mean, it's still kind of there to a certain degree. Not the same, obviously, now without Highbury still being there. But yeah, that is a shame. Up the dial, indeed. That's what we want to see, don't we? Up the dial, good stuff. We got Loki says that when they knocked the North Bank down, the rot started for me. Yeah, definitely. Exactly, around about that kind of time. Mark,
I remember the last game of the season. The last game of the season when against Southampton, there was people crying, trying to tear up lumps of the concrete off the North Bank. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, and he's absolutely right. That's when it stopped for me when they put, when I went to put the seats in. I'm sure we're not the only club that feels like that as well, but we know why it was. It was like it was legislation. Something had to be done.
Yeah, it did, and I mean that was why when Hillsborough happened, and we know how everything behind all of that, but that I kind of felt afterwards, obviously football stopped, didn't it, for a couple of weeks after Hillsborough, and I did feel as though would football ever be the same again? And we soon got our answer. No, it wasn't ever going to be the same again. And in some ways, it's good that stuff like Hillsborough can't happen again. But was that really because of terracing? No, it wasn't. We know the reasons that Hillsborough happened. But it was always going to be a big change, wasn't it, for the future of football? And yeah, you absolutely. I agree with that. For me, I think it did start maybe the whole downfall of football for me maybe started with Hillsborough, and knowing that was probably going to be the end of football as we knew it, as we've grown up with, and it was going to have to change, and it did change, but it's not really any for the better really overall. I don't think. But there you go. Mark says, I'm 53. I mean, so many younger fans these days who are jealous of the fact that I went to games at Highbury. Yeah, there are a lot of people that are, but also as well, I think you've got a lot of younger fans these days that just don't really understand it. Really, they don't. They've only known the Emirates, and I don't think they really understand the history of Arsenal and what Highbury actually meant to everybody at the time. I don't think they understand. That's not their fault. Of course not. They never experienced it. But there's a lot of younger fans now that dismiss it all, I think. And, not that bothered. Oh, we're top of the league. We play at the Emirates with all this,
Yeah, I think they also, a lot of the younger fans seem to kind of, you get the idea from that they think like Arsene Wenger created Arsenal. And there's like Arsene Wenger, Arsenal is the only Arsenal they've been. They don't seem to get it beforehand.
Yeah. It was like I said before, though. It was that feeling at some point on a Saturday when the games all used to be 3 o'clock Saturday on your journey to Arsenal, whatever club you supported. At some point on that journey, your social life went on hold, and you became the Arsenal. You became part of it. You became part of the machine. I can't call the North Bank at the Emirates a North Bank. It's the North End. Because to me, the North Bank will always be Highbury, and it'll be that feeling of, everyone together, everyone doing the same thing, chanting the players' names before the kick-off when they turn around and applauded you back. It was, and like I say, it was just the amount of people that you'd meet and say hello. You wouldn't know their name, but you'd know what they was about and what they wanted, and it was exactly what you wanted, and that's the thing that's missing. You don't get it, you don't get it all these modern bowls, when we all sat in nice, neat lines and you're told to sit down and be quiet, and, you don't get that feeling.
No, you don't. What I liked about the test more than anything was, I sort of went to the clock end from about 82, 83 onwards, really, but you had that. You'd stand roughly in the same place every week. You'd see the same people. If you wanted to, you could go and stand over the other corner just for something different, or you could get away. You could do what you want. You could move away if you wanted to and go and stand somewhere else. And that was what I kind of liked about it. You had that option, that freedom. Whereas now you've got your seat and that's it, and you're stuck there forever because you can't move because you're stuck on that seat. And that was the biggest thing for me. When they put the seats in, it became a lot more difficult. Because I used to go with lots of different people at different times, and sometimes you'd have one group that used to stand over by the away fans on the clock end, and another group I knew who used to stand at the back, and you could kind of drift between them, couldn't you? I'll go and have a chat to them in the second half. But as soon as they put the seats in, you couldn't, because everyone had their season tickets. You had your seat, and that was it. And everyone was dotted all over the place, and it was completely different from that point onwards. And
that's if you've got a fan with you, because the last time I went properly, I'm sitting there, and all these shirt and ties come in with emails, and they're all sitting around me, and they're all talking about I've done this today, and we're having dinner around Sally's tonight, and World War III could have broken out on the pitch, they wouldn't have known. And then they'll disappear like 15, 20 minutes before the end. And, like I said, there's a lot of people in there that just saw it as a status symbol. I know there's a lot of good people in there. Don't get me wrong, there's still a lot of good people in there. But the percentage of fans that when they closed the Highbury and went to the Emirates, the percentage of seats went up. I don't think the percentage of fans went up that much, from my honest opinion. A lot of corporates, a lot of businesses. Where are all the fans that they promise they make space for?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, last time I was at the Emirates, there was a woman sitting in the seat in front of me, and she spent pretty much half an hour of the first half on her phone chatting to her friends while the game was going on. She then buggered off and went down to get a drink or whatever it was, I don't know. Came back about 20 minutes into the second half, spent the rest of the time on the phone. Wasn't interested in the game at all, right? And I'm thinking, why are you even here?
Yeah,
it doesn't make sense. And there is a lot of fans at the Emirates that's like that. And you're right, it's not all of them at all. It's a small percentage probably in the overall scheme of things. But you're right. We moved from Highbury because we had to have 38,000 because of the all-seater stadium to be able to get more fans in. And I don't see. You're right. I don't see more actual fans in there. More people, yes, but not more actual
fans that are proper fans.
And yet you got, like I said, Red members. Last time I worked there was 500,000 that would have paid their membership fee with no chance of getting a ticket. straight in Kroenke's bank account.
I've got red membership to try and get tickets, and I haven't managed to get to a game all season because every time I don't even get to apply. By the time it comes around to red members, they've all sold out already. And what actually annoys me more is that Arsenal use giving tickets away at Ticketmaster and people like that will then charge £500 for a seat. Yeah. It's like, where have they got their tickets from? They've got them from Arsenal. Why don't Arsenal just give them to the fans? Rather than giving them to these ticket agencies that are giving them probably millions of pounds. That's why.
Yeah,
and now in the Arsenal way, that's one of the reasons I came away. You know, I love Arsenal. I love that club, but I've got to distance myself from what's happening with the money. You know, that's the thing for me. You know, whatever goes on the pitch is one thing. Whatever goes on behind the scenes, no, I've got to distance myself from that, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
You know, fans are at the sharp end of it.
Yeah, they are. They always have been, really. But certainly since the start of all this Sky and all the start of this money that's come into football, yeah, fans are. You know, look at the amount of training kits and stuff Arsenal release every week virtually. There's a new thing come out, and what happens is it annoys me actually when you see fans on social media in particular, they'll go out and buy every single top that comes out. The day they come out, they've got them. I'm like, what are you doing? What on earth are you doing? How is that helping anybody, really? It's not helping everybody else because they'll just keep releasing more because everyone's buying them. Don't buy them.
They proved with COVID, didn't they? They don't need fans in the stadium. And that's one reason. The TV rights and the merchandise, they can run it off that worldwide.
Yeah, you don't need anyone in the crowd, do you?
Yeah.
You don't need them singing, turning up at all.
And that's the thing, it ain't just Arsenal. You know, it ain't Arsenal, we know that. It's across the elite game in general.
Yeah, it is. It is. And it's such a shame, isn't it, really? And I know younger fans won't really understand it because they never experienced what it was like before, you know, because it wasn't here. And in a way, it's a shame that it's gone the way it has now. And it's, you know, if you think about it, what you said before is actually right. Because if you remember, before they put the seats in at Highbury, right, the capacity at Highbury was about 60,000, wasn't it? Give or take 58,000, whatever it was.
They used to pack them in some games, yeah.
Yeah. So, but how many times did it sell out? Was it 60,000? Hardly ever.
No.
Hardly ever. Yeah. In my whole time of going to Highbury, 25 years, whatever it was probably only 5 or 6 games and over 50,000 there. So where did all these new fans come from to fill the Emirates? Because they wasn't there before. They wasn't there when Highbury was there. Even before the seats went in, we won the league. Our average attendance was 40,000 in 1991, I think it was, 39,000 or something, 40,000. And then they got 38,000 all seats. You think, well, actually, that's enough, isn't it? Because that's all the average attendance was anyway, around about that. And this one might be we played at Wembley in Champions League games, and because we got 70, 80,000, whatever it was, they thought, let's build a bigger stadium because we can get more money.
And this is what I was saying earlier about how long do you think they've been planning this Super League for? You know, it could have been back then. Who knows? Who knows how? Like I said, they don't wake up in the morning and go, do you know what? We're having a Super League.
Super League, yeah.
You know, it's been going on a long, long time.
Oh, yeah, it's been planned. I just thought the time of it coming out was a bit strange. But maybe you're right what you said before about the COVID and that. You'd had lost money maybe and thought, is this the way to try and get it back? But it kind of backfired on it, which was a shame, wasn't it? Marcy's talking about the shirts there. He says, I hope they're not those skinny fit shirts.
No, definitely not.
No, I've got a bit of lockdown spread here. You can only see my face, thank God. I'm not putting the camera down any lower. Yeah, they're a bit snug.
Yeah.
Loki says, where can we buy a shirt? Where can people buy the shirts then? Because it'd be good to get a load of them out there.
What I would say is I think these ones are sold out now, aren't they, Mark? Because these are the ones that we're trying to the end of this season. So they've all gone. I must just say this. I'm at the bottom down here, I'm not going to get up, so I ain't got the figure for it. But down the bottom, across those shirts, if you look at it, if you're lucky enough to have one, keep hold of them because they've got the names imprinted of everyone who got the club started. They did that for us, which is a fantastic touch. So if you got one of them, keep hold of it. Keep checking the Dial Square website. We got a shop on there, and the new shirts should be coming out in a couple of months. They'll be up and running. Like I say, we'll have the new sponsor on there, the new badge. They're a burgundy shirt. That's all I'm going to tell you. And like I say, there's only one colour we can have as an away shirt. So, but keep your eye on them. They'll be on the website in the summer.
Well, okay, well, definitely check that out then, Loki. What we'll have to do is, I think when they're out, we'll buy one and we'll wear them on the show every single game, rather than wearing an Arsenal shirt. We'll actually wear the Dull Square shirt on the channel.
Yeah, that'd be good.
I think that's the way to go with it, to be honest with you. We'll see how that works out. Loki says in 2015, I had FA Cup final ticket versus Villa. I sold it on and stayed and watched it in the 12 pins with real gooners. Well, I charged the place value only, though, Loki. I'm sure you did. I'm sure you didn't make any money with it. But yeah, I mean, I suppose that's the way to get a ticket, maybe if you're lucky, I suppose. But no, we look forward to them shirts coming out, actually, because that'd be pretty good. And Terry says it wasn't Arsenal formed when Sky Sports started. Well, you speak to some fans now, and you were just
they probably think it was,
Yeah. I reckon. I always said when I went to the Emirates, if the first game I saw, I think it was a Champions League game against Porto. I didn't go to the League one, and I reckon if you said to everybody, right, stand up, now sit down if you can name a player that played for Arsenal before Thierry Henry, and I reckon half of them would struggle that first game. And like I say, I know there's some great Arsenal boys and lasses in there, and I apologise to them. I know there's some great people down there, but there was definitely a lot of people that basically didn't have a clue. Didn't have a clue, and it was such a shame.
Yeah. But that was obvious, wasn't it? Because we said, that we was only getting 40,000 when we were winning the league. So where did these suddenly 20,000 extra people come from? You know what I mean? Where did they suddenly come from in 2006? I don't know.
Exactly.
Most of them weren't high.
Businesses, emails.
Yeah, it must have been. Yeah, not proper Arsenal, I suppose, and that's the way it is, I guess. But I mean, yeah, it is a real shame because, as you said, and I totally agree with you, we'll always be Arsenal fans, no matter what happens. Just because you can't not be, can you? You can't.
You can't turn it off.
Yeah, it ain't a light switch. You can't flick it on and off. It's in you. It's in it, but good. Same with any football fan.
It's the only thing, really, isn't it? Because you think about it, everything else in life that you go through, you've got relationships, marriages, whatever it is, right? Apart from your kids and the football team, they're the only two things that are with you throughout your whole existence. Everything else comes and goes, doesn't it? People come and go,
chop and change.
Come and go, material things come and go, jobs come and go. Got your football club and your kids. That's it. They're with you forever, aren't they? They're the only two things in your life that are constant, really, aren't they? I suppose your family, maybe. But. And that's what it is, isn't it? I don't think people that don't follow football don't understand that, do they? It's like, I mean, when Arsenal are playing, no matter what else I might be doing, no matter where else in the world I am at the time, 3/4 of my brain is thinking, what's the score? How are we playing? What's going on?
Yeah, you can check the result.
Yeah, if you ain't got Wi-Fi, you've had it, haven't you? If you're at work or something like that, it's just a bag of nerves. But yeah, it's right. And it was, I suppose it was just feeling. Like you say, when you was in the Clock End or the North Bank or whatever, it was like a family. You say like, your kids and your things are a constant, but everyone sort of become you were like a part of a machine, part of a big family, and everyone wanted the same thing. And, I see sometimes, especially with some of these glory hunters, they're Chelsea one week and Man City the other, they ain't quite got it. I ain't quite got the idea of it yet. Once it's in you, that's it. It should be in you.
Yeah, exactly. And it is. And you said it'll never go. It will never ever go, no matter what happens. And that's the way it is, isn't it? And we'll still be, when we're rattling around, we're 90 odd year old. We'll still be worried about what the score is in the game.
Yeah,
exactly. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Give me my boots so I can, still be there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the way it is, isn't it? Unfortunately, it's kind of like a burden. I kind of feel the longer time's gone on, I kind of feel it more of a burden than it used to be something that you're sort of excited about. There's a game coming up, really excited to go to the game, watch the game, whatever it is, and even when we were rubbish in the 80s and stuff, you still got excited for it all. And now, the longer time's gone on, it feels more of a burden because sometimes I think, why can't I do something else and forget that Arsenal are playing? And I just can't. I just cannot believe it. And it annoys me sometimes because
and in the old days, the only games that used to be live was a cup final, European Cup final, wasn't it? And the England International the week later against Scotland when that used to be on. Now you got non-league on the telly. Now you got everything's on the telly. There's games virtually every day through the season, so it's lost that specialness as well. It used to be. Blimey, I'm going to see a football match because you couldn't see it on the telly. You had to go and see it live.
Yeah.
It's just a watered down version now that we got, I feel.
Yeah, it is. And do you remember when they first started showing live games on ITV back in the sort of mid-80s? I remember Arsenal in particular. I remember there was a game at Highbury, the first league game at Highbury to be screened live on that deal from ITV. There was like about 18,000 there. People didn't bother going to games that are on telly. Oh, I just stay home and watch 18,000. And that used to happen a lot. All the TV games, if you look through Arsenal's history, the attendances a game, you'll see how there was 30,000, 35,000, 42,000. The next game was like 18,000. You guarantee that was the game that was on telly. Even if it's playing Man United or Tottenham. I remember a Tottenham game at about 25,000 at Highbury that was on telly once. It's like, what's going on?
Crazy, yeah.
Interested in going to games that are on telly now, they're all sold out regardless because they're all on telly anyway. It's mad how it's changed. I can't understand it. How that change has happened from people thinking, I'll just sit home and watch it, to now have to be at the stadium regardless of whether it's on telly or not. I mean, it never bothered me one way or the other if it was on telly or not, but it seemed to affect attendance, didn't it? Back in the 80s in particular.
Yeah. I thought it was a comfort thing, or perhaps I like the commentary, or I don't know. It was, you know, I used to go to the games and then I made sure, like, someone videoed it in the old days of videos. I remember sort of one at White Hart Lane where Adams and Paul Davies scored. We won 2-1. And I remember going there, and as soon as I got in, I put it on the video, I watch it again.
Yeah.
You know, that was the sort of thing you did. You know, but yeah, I think football now generally with the money and the telly and everything, it's just a watered down version of what we used to have. You know, hopefully Dial Square can bring back something that can give you an option. That's what we're trying to achieve.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I mean, I 100% I think that's definitely going to be the case because it's what's been missing, isn't it? I think from modern football for a long, long time, and to get that back in some way. And I say because I've always kind of followed non-league football anyway, so it's always been something that I've been interested in. And this is kind of combining the two things, isn't it? It's combining Arsenal, as we've always known Arsenal, and this kind of community aspects of it all. I love the fact about the club, the fan ownership as well. I think that is definitely the way to go forward, isn't it?
Makes you feel part of it. Yeah, you know, it's about feeling part of it.
And get your voice heard as well, isn't it?
Yeah, you can come up. You're encouraged to come up with ideas.
Yeah,
you know, anything we want to do, you can have a voice on it. We'll have a vote on it if you want it. You know, it's being part of it rather than there you go. There's your seat. Sit down. You know, drinks only at half time. You know, and don't shout too loudly. There's a bloke behind you on his phone, you know, and he can't get any of that.
He's got a business meeting. He doesn't want to be
doing a Zoom from the road behind you.
Yeah. No, that seems to be the way it's gone. I mean, if anybody wants to get involved here with these like fan and become one of the members, what will they need to do?
You can go on the Dial Square website. I think down the bottom there's a link for the fan ownership. Just fill the form in, send it off. You can pay monthly, pay in one go. Choice is yours, basically.
Yeah, you want the enterprise bit. That's the bit. So the enterprise has got its own website as well. But yeah, Dial Square or Dial Square Enterprise, and you'll see the links on there.
And there's no limit to the number of people that can join. There's no limit to the numbers that anybody can join.
Yeah, as many as possible, please.
Yeah.
Well,
and what it is, because like I say, because we ain't got shareholders, we ain't tying you down to 3 years and 5 years and say you're a member, not a shareholder. So it's got a lot of flexibility.
And also, at each game, we live stream it on Twitter as well, don't we, Dave?
Yeah. Just to help out, you know, we've got a lot of supporters. We've got international supporters, believe it or not, down at the moment.
That watches the games every week.
Yeah, we've been to Norway, we've been across to America. We've had Nigeria, and we've had quite a few.
Yeah.
So yeah, we do that just to make it a little bit more accessible for those fans, because obviously Arsenal fans are global, and they want to know something a little bit different.
Wow. I'll have to look out for the games on Twitter. I didn't realise you were streaming them. That's brilliant.
It's really good.
What's it? D Square 2021.
I think it's Dial Square Live.
Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry. The at is.
Yeah, Dial Square Live.
That's
Dial
right.
Square Live on Twitter, is that what it is?
Yeah, and you can go on there now, and there's still the games that we've obviously live streamed are still on there, so you can watch them back.
Wow, that is brilliant. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to stick links for this on the channel on a video and stuff like that, so people can just find them that way as well. Because we really want to try and get as much support in for the club as we possibly can, because it's such a great thing. And I just think that what you guys are doing and what you've done to get this club off and underway and all that you've done with it, it's brilliant. It really is brilliant. And the fact that it's got such a big Arsenal connection as well, I think that if there's Arsenal fans out there that don't want to support it, I can't understand why you wouldn't, because what's there not to love about a club that's run by Arsenal fans that you've got to say it the way it's run? That's the one thing with the main Arsenal club, isn't it? And fans have got no say in anything, really. They have these fan forums and stuff, don't they? They put people in there. They don't listen to them. They don't really want them there. They don't care, do they? Fans have got no say. Absolutely none. That's the thing, isn't it? Because, you know, as fans of a club, you want to feel like you're important and that you mean something, and you don't at Arsenal or any Premier League club. The same. Arsenal are no different to anyone else. Let's be honest.
No, they're not interested in your opinion, are they? Really?
No, of course they're not. Especially if your opinion isn't going to make them loads of money. They definitely don't want to know.
No, definitely.
They're definitely interested in your opinion if it's not going to make them money from it. I mean, you know, you're saying about the live streaming of the games, right? And that is such a good idea. And even when you've got in the Premier League at Arsenal, if Arsenal kick off at 3 o'clock like we are at the weekend against Leeds, why aren't they streaming that game live so that all the fans can watch it all over the world? No, because they're not making money from it. They're tied into a ridiculous TV deal that makes no sense, because that's more important for them than the actual fans all over the world that want to watch the game and can't. Ridiculous, isn't it? It's just, it makes no sense, does it? That they're not doing that. Why aren't Arsenal streaming the game at 3 o'clock kickoff game? Why aren't they doing that on their website? Crazy.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah, you could probably charge £10 a game. People would still pay, wouldn't you?
Yeah, of course they would.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, what people all over the world, you know, sometimes people think, oh, you know, Arsenal's a London club and the fans live in London. They don't. Arsenal are a worldwide club now, worldwide brand. We've got fans everywhere. You know, no matter where in the world you go on holiday, if you wear an Arsenal shirt, you are going to get people coming up and talking about Arsenal, because everybody in the world knows Arsenal and are interested, aren't they? That's the way it is.
yeah, exactly.
And they want to watch the game, don't they? Why don't Arsenal stream?
So it's just, you know,
they're not allowed.
It's how much you got in your wallet.
Yeah, it is. That's where it comes down to, isn't it? Mark C says there, fans overseas can probably watch it live. In certain countries, yeah, they probably can, but not all over the world. There'll be loads of countries that can't access the game. I mean, you think in England we can't access the game? Not legally, can we? Unless you're at the game, you're not going to see it, are you? And yes, in a way, I quite like that, because I remember, as you mentioned before, when hardly any games were live, and it was great because you didn't have that overkill of the games, and if you didn't go to the game, you didn't watch it, and that's the way it was. You had to accept that. That was your options that you had. I mean, now it's different because you can't get a ticket anyway, so you're knackered, aren't you? I'd love to go to the game on Saturday, but I can't get a ticket to go to the Leeds game, and if it's not being broadcast on telly because it's a 3 o'clock kickoff, how are people meant to watch it?
You can't, no.
And you pay £80 a month. I mean, I don't, but people do pay £80 a month to watch Sky or whatever it is, and even they can't watch it because they're not showing it. It's
no,
like,
exactly,
what's the point? You know what I mean? What is the point? I'll tell you what you'll be better off doing. You'd be better off going onto that Dial Square Twitter feed and watching Dial Square's game live. Is it on 3 o'clock on Saturday you're playing, are
you? We play 2 p.m, but the season's finished now, but all our games are 2 p.m. kickoffs.
Oh, right, okay. So you can, so you'd only really miss the first half of the Arsenal game, then watch all the Dial Square games, and then watch the second half of the Arsenal game on some sort of, as Mike says there, some dodgy Fire Stick. Exactly.
Yeah, definitely Fire Stick.
Yeah, exactly. That's the way to do it. But I mean, technically, what they should do is they should make it accessible for everybody. And you know, I can't understand why all the Premier League clubs or all the clubs in Europe haven't decided, instead of taking Sky's money, instead of taking BT's money or all these other Satan or whoever they are that give them the money, why don't clubs generate that money themselves by charging a subscription to their own fans to stream every single match live? They'll get more money that way. I guarantee they will. Especially a club like, you can maybe Southampton wouldn't. Southampton probably wouldn't make the money out of it, would they? Because worldwide, what's the interest in Southampton? Probably not that great.
No, not that much, you would say.
yeah, the bigger clubs are going to benefit more, probably, you would imagine. But even so, surely that's got to be the way forward, hasn't it? It's got to be. And I can't understand why we're in 2023 and you can't watch Arsenal's game on Saturday on telly if you're in the UK.
No,
you can't watch
you
it
could
there.
maybe go to Portugal and watch it live out there. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. You know, they're trying to say the Premier League is this great product. It's the best league in the world. It's all this great and this, that, and the other. And yet, if you live in England and you pay all that money to subscribe to Sky, you still can't watch it.
No, you
know what I mean?
you can only watch the games that they want you to watch.
Yeah, and that's the one reason why. I mean, I subscribed to Sky, I think maybe the first season that it was the first season of the Premier League. And I thought, no, I'm not paying them for them to pick and choose which games I can see. Unless I can watch the Arsenal games, I'm not interested. I don't want to watch Bournemouth against Southampton. I'm not paying to watch that. Absolutely no chance. Who would? Oh, we've got Dave back. I think your internet must have crashed.
Sorry. Yeah, my connection went. Sorry about that.
No worries at all. These things happen. You need to get a dodgy fire stick. That's what you need. That'll stop it happening.
I think the old satellite went out of range.
Yeah. I think it probably did. Loki says there, used to listen on Radio 2 for half a second. Yeah, I remember Radio 2. Yeah, used to. I mean, you still have it on the radio now. A little. I mean, driving to games and that. There's a commentary, isn't there? The game before, but it's not the same, is it?
I'll tell you what. If you had a radio on the terraces, you never had to put your hand in your pocket for a pint.
No, you didn't. That's right. Yeah, everyone used to crowd around, especially if, like, I remember when obviously we were fighting with Liverpool for titles and stuff, weren't we? And you know, or the Tottenham result, someone had a radio, you'd flocking round and went, "What's the score? What's the score? How's it getting on?" Yeah, that was away. See, that was better, wasn't it? That was rather than everyone on their phone checking the scores all the time. You know what I mean? It's not the same, is it? Where's the excitement in that? There's none, is it?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Be standing outside like radio rentals, looking at the CFAX and all the tellies in the window.
Yeah, teletext. Yeah, watching it come through. I can remember doing that, you know, on a Saturday sometimes. When Arsenal were away somewhere, if I wasn't going, you'd be shopping or somewhere, and you know, at like 4:45, you're straight there, right? You just find the TV and see the score.
It was always a crowd when they were radio rentals. Always a crowd about 4:45.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, good stuff. What I never used to understand as well is sometimes you'd get the train back from football. The game would finish at like 4:45, right? You'd be on the train. You'd get off at King's Cross or something at like 5:30, and there'd be a newspaper there with a report on a game you've just been to. It's like, how have they done it that quickly?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. They can't even get them on the internet that quick these days. They need to have a paper printed for sale at the station half an hour after the game. How did they do that?
It's crazy, yeah.
I think it was it the Evening Standard that their sales must have dipped when the old internet came out, because Evening Standard, didn't it? Everyone would just wait for, you see the van with the old stripes down, the diagonal orange stripes down it, and that'd be it. You get the rest of the scores if you didn't have a radio.
Yeah, incredible that they got it out that quick, you know. It's incredible. And now, if you go on the BBC app, it's about like 4 hours behind. It's ridiculous. And yet in them days, you can have a whole newspaper printed and in the shop ready at the station, ready for you. It's like, how did they do it? Incredible. That's just amazing. I mean, Terry made a good point there. Arsenal v Everton pre-season USA. I remember this. Arsenal showed the game for $7.50. Everton was showing it for nothing. There you go.
Sums it up, really.
There you go.
It does sum it up, yeah, exactly. Loki says, I watch Aussie TV feed from my mate's account. Well, yeah, as long as you watch the games. And Loki, it's paid for. Well, it is paid for, yeah. I mean, it's, you know, the dodgy fire sticks are paid for as well, aren't they? But
paid for.
See, that's the question they don't ask. They say about, you know, the streaming and what a problem it is, but why do you think that is? Because you're pricing fans out of stadiums.
Yeah,
that's why it's happening.
And you're not showing the games people want to watch, because you've got to, you know, part of the deal is Southampton have got to be on 10 times a season and Bournemouth have got to be on 10 times a season. So sometimes you're going to have games that no one's interested in watching, and you've got to pay for it. You can't watch the games you want to watch. Everything else seems to be very modern, and the technology side of things, everything. We've got VAR, we've got goal line technology in the States, all this kind of stuff, right? And yet they've got a TV deal which is so behind the times. It's just ridiculous, isn't it? You know, how have we not kind of brought that to the modern era where you can just stream the games you want to watch from the club you want to watch it? Why have we not? You know, why are we still waiting for this to happen? The technology.
Because I can earn money off it. I can earn money off it. That's how they'd be pay-per-view soon. That's
maybe what it should be. I must admit, I've always said that I I won't pay for a subscription on Sky or BT or anything like that because I just don't agree with it at all. But I probably would if Arsenal had an option where they would show every single Arsenal game live. I would probably pay for the season. I probably would, because if the option's there and you can watch them if you want to watch them. And I think that would be worth paying for, because at least you're paying to watch the Arsenal games and you're not paying to watch all the other games that you don't care about. You're not paying. Exactly. Part of your 80 quid is going, as you mentioned before, to watch like the conference games. You know what I mean? And yeah, the conference games are probably great, but you don't watch them on telly. They're the games you go to because you get that special atmosphere. What's the point of watching non-league football on the telly? I don't get it. Why would you do that? That's not what non-league football is about. Non-league football is not to be watched on telly, really, is it? It's to be there in the stadium and get that atmosphere and the community thing and stuff like that. I don't understand what that's about. But anyway,
so like you said, it probably puts their crowds down as well.
Yeah.
You said about the Arsenal crowds. I wouldn't want a non-league. I wouldn't want any of our games on the telly live because we, like I say, we want people at the grounds.
Yeah, exactly. Of course you do, and it's a different experience anyway. I mean, I always said this, right, and it's I've said it for years, really. And it's become that now, but football and live sport in general, not just football, but live sport isn't a TV show. It's live sport. It's a live event, isn't it? It's not a TV show. It's not something that it's difficult because people want to watch the games, and if they're not on telly, how do you watch the games? And we've just said you can't watch the Arsenal game on Saturday, but it isn't a TV show. It's turned into a TV show, hasn't it? Football and sport now, and I don't think that's the right path it's gone down. It should, they can't have a game at 3. They can't show a live game on Sky at 3 o'clock on a Saturday because they say it's going to affect attendances at lower league grounds, right? I don't know what they're backing that up with, any statistics to prove it, because they've never shown a game at 3 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon to prove it, have they? So they don't know, do they? But to me, the people that go and watch non-league football, the people that go and watch the local teams, they're not going to not go because Liverpool and Man City are playing at 3 o'clock on a Saturday on Sky, are they? They're still going to go and watch their local team. They're not going to stay at home and watch it. And the people that run football and think that that's the case don't understand football fans at all, do they? They don't understand what it means to football fans.
No, one thing you ain't going to recreate either. You ain't going to create the emotion. You're in your front room watching it. You're not going to jump on your wife's back when the goal goes in. Like you would at the ground. You just jump on a stranger's back or something. How it used to be. I know it's a bit extreme, but it just seems everything's. You can't even celebrate a goal now with VAR. They've even taken that away from it. It's such a watered down version of the sport that we fell in love with.
And even being in a stadium in the Premier League, in particular, I mean, I know the non-league game's different, and that is more raw and more real, isn't it? Which is why I prefer those sort of games. But even in the Premier League, going to the stadiums, it's watered down now, isn't it? The atmosphere is watered down, and the whole experience is watered down. Yeah, I mean, sometimes it used to be quite dangerous, didn't it? I mean, going to games in the 80s and stuff, you weren't always sure if you'd get home in one piece half the time because
you had to pick your routes, didn't you, on a train? The first thing you looked at, who else was playing at home and where they getting off.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was a risky experience, but having said that, that kind of made it more real and more exciting, didn't it? And now it's been so.
And when you got there,
no, go on.
No, so I was going to say, and when you got there as well, it was just that feeling was great. This is where I am. This is I am the Arsenal. I'm with these guys and girls. This is. Yeah. It was. It's the youngsters today. That's what they. And it's not their fault. I just don't know because they haven't. They're too young to have experienced it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people give a lot of kind of credit to the Ashburton Army on the clock end at the Emirates, right? And yeah, fair enough. They're young lads, jumping about, banging the drums, singing, and getting behind the team on this, that, and the other, right? And that's fair enough. But can you imagine that in the 80s? A group like that in the 80s, they wouldn't have lasted 5 minutes, would they? They wouldn't have been at Highbury.
The away end would have emptied into it.
Yeah.
And the other question I got about that, and don't get me wrong, I'm all for it in the right way, people getting the atmosphere going, because we've all said as soon as the seats went in, that's when the atmosphere started dropping, and we all know that, and especially at Arsenal, and I'll take my hat off to them. If they're doing it the right way, that's fantastic, and I'm all for that, trying to get a bit of atmosphere going. But how did they get all them seats together? That's my only question.
Who knows?
I don't know. How did they get? You struggle to get a seat next to your mate. How did they get all those seats together?
Well, obviously, I think the club have organised it. Definitely,
must have done.
Yeah, The club of the
Must have,
club of yeah.
But if I want to get an atmosphere, like I say, I'm all for that. I'm all for getting a bit of atmosphere going. No problem at all. Good luck,
yeah,
Ron.
I 100%. Yeah, no, I agree. It kind of makes me laugh sometimes when I see him, and I'm thinking, you know, if you'd been around 40 years ago, mate, you wouldn't have lasted 10 minutes.
Not at all. No.
They do make me laugh, and that is great that they're trying to create an atmosphere. That's fair enough. You know what I mean? I think the drum's a little bit European, isn't it? Banging a drum throughout the game's a bit annoying, but you know, it's what it is. At least they're trying to create an atmosphere. Loki says the pink one, that was that paper, wasn't it? That came out at like 5 o'clock or something on a Saturday.
That's it. Yeah. It delivered by the van with the orange and white stripes, I think.
Yeah,
if you saw that, you just followed it and just waited for it to drop a stack of papers off.
Yeah, they were the days, weren't they? And Loki said, "Do you remember when they tried to ban cameras? Well, they did, didn't they? There was a ban on TV, football TV, wasn't there, for a few years? There was or other, wasn't there? And then do you remember when they weren't allowed to wear the shirt sponsors on the kit when they were on telly?
That's it. That's when you knew you was on Match of the Day, when you didn't have the JVC on the front. I think it was the season Frank McAvenny of West Ham was the leading scorer, and nobody knew who he was. He walked down. They did a thing, didn't they, when he walked down the high street? No one recognised him because there was no matches on the telly.
That's right. Yeah. Well, that was the season. That was the season after the Heysel disaster, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
And I don't suppose that was the reason why football wasn't on telly, but I know there was some dispute, wasn't there, between the TV companies or whatever it was. And I mean, ridiculous when you think about it now that they actually banned TV cameras from football for a whole season. It's like
it's their bread and butter now, isn't it? I think there's some rule that Sky or whoever it is, they own the rights. So if they wanted to, they could confiscate your phone if you're recording it. It's something stupid like that. They own all recording rights in the stadium they're filming.
No, do they really?
I'm sure I've read it. I'm sure someone's told. I might be wrong, and apologies if I am.
No. I mean, I think you might be onto something because about when was it? A year and a half ago, I do watch-alongs on the channel of games and stuff like that, right? And I had a camera set up to face the telly, right? And I happened to show a replay of a goal, literally about 10 seconds of this goal, and the channel got shut down. And it came out of a thing that it was a Premier League had banned it because of copyright breach, because I'd shown a replay of the goal on the stream. And they literally, within 2 minutes, they shut it down. The whole channel got shut down. Not even 2 minutes. Probably 30 seconds after it went live, the whole thing just shut down. And I couldn't get the channel back for ages. Because
and who was watching it?
That's what they
Who was watching that? That's some Big Brother stuff, there, isn't it? To do it that quick.
It was. I couldn't actually believe it was. I'm thinking, what's happened here? Everything just went blank. And then obviously I checked on my YouTube and it said there's been a copyright thing. The Premier League have blocked the broadcast, and I couldn't get it back. They wouldn't let me stream live for about, I can't remember how long it was now. I got a ban from streaming live for ages on the channel on the back of that. It wasn't Sky, it was the Premier League apparently. And I'm thinking, you know, I've got, I don't know, 1,500 subscribers. I probably didn't even have 1,000 subscribers then because it was over a year ago. You know, I probably had, I don't know, maybe 800 people watching, if that, all over the world. And Sky or the Premier League are a multi-billion-pound business, and they're worried about me showing a replay of a goal for 2 minutes. I mean, what are you about?
Crazy, isn't it? Well, picking on the little man.
Yeah, we don't know what technology they got as well, so you don't know what they're mucking about with. You know, you think of what the military might have and something like that. So if you put in one word or something comes up with a signal, bang, and just shut the whole lot down wherever it is, you don't even know, like you say, you don't even know about it till you get a message. It's all automatic, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, I can't believe it. And obviously that, I mean, I'm assuming that must have been the reason, because it was the Premier League that had done it. They put a strike in on the channel and it got shut down. Literally, I don't
think we got that technology yet, have we? Dale Square Live.
No, not yet.
You can film our goals.
Yeah.
We haven't quite got that level yet.
Maybe that's what. Maybe I start doing watch-alongs at Dale Square games instead. That might be better. I won't get shut down.
Yeah.
I can have a camera at the TV and show it. No one will care, will they? We won't get shut down doing that. That might be a way.
Yeah, we'll encourage it.
Maybe we'll do that. That might be good. But yeah, Loki says that he's going to buy a shirt and spread the word. Good man. Yeah, that's what he wants to see.
Fantastic.
What we want to see is next season with these new shirts, we want to see them popping up everywhere. So, you know, if you're going to games at the Emirates, if you're going down a pub, if you're coming on the channels that you're doing on YouTube, there's loads of Arsenal YouTube channels. Everyone should be wearing these shirts and promoting this club and getting people involved, because that's what we should be doing. And yeah, you're right. It's not anti-Arsenal. We're not doing this because we've got anything against Arsenal. Of course not. No. That's not what it's about. It never is. It never will be. And that's great. You can still support other things, and doesn't have to affect how you feel about Arsenal. It's not against Arsenal, is it? Just wanting to support something that's.
It's giving the fans an option. That's what we're doing. We're giving fans an option.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I think that's fantastic, and that's how it should be. Loki says the 1936 FA Cup final TV was banned. They filmed it from an aeroplane. How did they manage to do that? Arsenal 1-0. Yeah, we beat Sheffield United 1-0. Yeah, was that not on telly? Was it? I didn't even know in the 1930s the FA Cup finals were on telly back then. Anyway, but maybe they were.
There wasn't one with the airship. What was the one with the airship? That was the 1930, wasn't it?
That was the 1930 one. I don't think they were filming that though. It was the Zeppelin, wasn't it, that flew over?
They've been on a big projector.
Yeah. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe they were just taking everyone's data back then in the 1930s. You know. Maybe that's what was happening. But no, I mean, I do think that we want to try to get as much new support as we can, obviously for Dial Square, because it's such a great thing. And I want to hope that people can really get behind it. And, you know, I mean, I live in Newcastle now, so I live miles away. So I'm not going to probably be able to get down and watch any of the games very often. But that doesn't mean that fans from all over the country, all over the world, can't show support for the club, can't buy the kits, can't, you know, sign up for the membership and all that kind of stuff, you know. And let's try and get as many people as we can involved, because I think it's so important. It's something that I think is just going to be, you know, it could well be the future. And who knows, in 10 years' time, if Dial Square FC are in League Two or whatever, wouldn't that be amazing? Imagine Dial Square
drew Arsenal in the FA Cup third round.
Wouldn't that be that? That's the dream, isn't it? That's the dream.
That'd be it.
Yeah, that would be good.
That would just be incredible.
Bring them down to our place.
I mean, I remember when I was younger and stuff like that, and used to play football and stuff. I remember thinking, people used to ask me, "Oh, how would you feel if you played for a team and you had to play against Arsenal? Would you not want to win?" And I'm like, "No, I'd want to win even more. Playing against Arsenal, it's like the dream, isn't it?
Yeah.
Against Arsenal in a game, you'd want to beat them, wouldn't you? Even though you support them. So all these days, I say, you know, there's these players that play. Oh, they used to support this club, like Steven Gerrard was an Everton fan, or whatever it was. You know, when he goes and plays for Liverpool, he wants to beat them, doesn't he? Of course, he does, more than anyone else.
Yeah, of course.
You don't play for them. Of course, you want to beat them.
Stick one in the top corner and go and jump in the crowd.
Yeah, of course.
Of course you do.
Do you know what I mean? People say, "Oh, I couldn't score against Arsenal if I was playing against them." Why? Why not? That's exactly what you would do. Yeah. That's what I would do. I always would have done. Brilliant. Loki says, "Oh, it's on PAF News." Oh yeah, mind you, everything used to be on PAF News then, didn't it?
Oh yeah.
That was like the BBC of the 1930s, wasn't it? Really, PAF News. But it wasn't that year, obviously. What happened with the footage from the aeroplane? And I don't know how that would work, because aeroplanes don't hover, do they? They fly over, so they're going to get like 5 minutes of the game, aren't they? Not even that. It'll take them like a minute to fly over the stadium. That's all they're going to get. And then they turn around and come back and do it again. They get another minute later. They go back over.
Got the timing right.
Work. You need a helicopter. That's what you needed, a helicopter or a drone.
Yeah.
That's about it, really. You're not going to be able to film an aeroplane, are you? That's not going to work. Where would the camera be anyway? I don't understand that. That's
crazy. Yeah.
No, it's got to be parachute out. I wouldn't want to parachute out. It's the only thing I can work out.
Been good footage though, wouldn't it? Imagine parachuting down into Wembley when the game's going on. You've got a camera facing down after the pitch, wouldn't it? For about 10 minutes until you landed, and then it's like, oh, I'm in the middle of the pitch now. But Loki said they got the goal. Well, that was good timing, wasn't it? If they got the goal, that was really good timing, actually, because the goal could have happened any time, couldn't it? Loki said, watch on YouTube. It can't have been filmed in an aeroplane, though, could it? I'm not saying it wasn't filmed. I'm sure it was, but it couldn't have been in an aeroplane, could it? It just doesn't make sense.
Maybe it's one of those hot air balloon things.
A hot air balloon, yeah.
Yeah,
it could be a hot air
balloon.
Not an aeroplane. Not even one of them old-fashioned aeroplanes that Biggles used to fly. Even he would have gone over it. I mean, I suppose he could have circled round, couldn't he? Biggles, maybe. You know, circled around the stadium. Perhaps.
Could have had one in windwalkers. with a camera.
Someone strapped on there with like Yeah, and a parachute. But Loki says it was. Okay, well, I'm going to check it on YouTube now. You told me. I'm going to go and watch it after and see. I'm pretty sure it wasn't an aeroplane. But anyway, maybe it was. Maybe one of them little aeroplanes, maybe. But anyway, that's all good stuff. So how do you stream your games then? You just got someone on a laptop and a camera?
No, my lad does it. He's got I think it's a Vivo camera. He's got a little tripod, pops the camera up there. And away he goes.
Yeah.
Is there like an app you stream it through onto Twitter? Is there like an app you have to use to do it? To stream it live? Or you just go live on YouTube or whatever?
He goes straight on YouTube from his phone. So he's got the app on his phone. And then the phone's linked to the camera.
Oh, wow.
So, and you get a lot of the players have said they watched the game back like on the Saturday night or the Sunday just to see how they've done.
Yeah, wow, that's great. That so yeah. So anybody that can't get to the games, definitely, I'm going to start watching that because that looks really good actually. And maybe next season I might start doing watch-alongs of the Dial Square games. And I'll have that set out on the other screen. Yeah, I'll stick a camera on it, and then I'll do the watch-along of the game. That'd be brilliant. That's the way. Yeah. That's the way forward. We'll have to start doing it because at least I know the channel won't get shut down by showing it.
No, we promise we won't do that. Yeah, we can't. We wouldn't know how to.
Yeah. No, so we'll have to do that next season. Actually, that could be quite fun. We might give it a trial for one game and see how it goes. If it works, we might do it more often, maybe.
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah,
that'd be good actually. So we'll look into doing that. And Sky can do one because we don't care.
Yeah.
In the Premier League, they can stop doing that. So yeah, we'll have to look into that. But yeah, I mean, the most important thing is what I'm going to do is I'm going to start sharing some of these links on the channel now because what we want to do is we want to make sure that people can. Get the membership going first of all because we want as many fans as possible to become members first of all. We want to see these new shirts because they sound amazing. I'm definitely buying the away shirt already. I haven't even seen it. I'm buying it already because I know it's going to be amazing. Yeah. I'm definitely buying that one straight off the bat and probably the home one as well. So we definitely want to get
an important point as well. Sorry, an important point I think we need to mention as well is the Dial Square Enterprise is a non-profit making company as well. So every penny that goes into the club, and that's legal. The only way that'll ever change is if the fans vote on it when it owns 100% of the club. If that ever situation arises, so the Dial Square Enterprise at the moment will be a non-profit making organisation.
So
there's no one taking money out.
When people buy the shirt, then does all that money go back into the club from the shirt?
Goes back into the club.
It does, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, well, even more reason for everyone to go and buy one. In fact, buy 2 or 3 or 4. Buy them for Christmas presents for everyone that you know.
Yeah.
Because the money's going back into the club, so you can't really go wrong, can you? It's not going in some rich corporation's pocket as they do. If you buy the Arsenal shirt from the Arsenal shop, you're just making rich people richer. You're not helping the club in any way whatsoever.
We don't translate anything into dollars.
No. Good, that's what we want here. That is what we want here. So Loki says there, from Dial Square to where a Manic Street Preachers tune. Yeah, it was actually. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. That wasn't where you got the name from, obviously, but maybe they got the name for that song from Arsenal. Who knows?
Perhaps I saw our stream.
Yeah, perhaps they did. Maybe they did. Who knows? But maybe someone from Manic Street Preachers wants to come on and talk about that song. That'll be fine. We'll listen to what they got to say about that. But yeah, I mean, it's been great having you guys on actually because. I think that we're all coming from a similar kind of place really with it all, with modern football and Arsenal in particular. And I do feel that it's good to know that there are, there'll be loads more people out there that feel the same and maybe thought that they were alone in it. And I think it's good that we know that there's a club out there that feels exactly the same as you do. They've still got these real big links to Arsenal and they're still going to be supporting Arsenal as well. But you can actually get involved in a club that's going to be fan owned for a start off, which I think is incredible. And also as well, you're going to feel part of this Arsenal community and it's going to mean something. Yeah. What you do if you go to a game, if you buy a shirt, if you do anything like that, if you buy the membership to the club, you're going to be important. You're going to be doing something to help that club. When you do it at Arsenal, you're not making any difference whatsoever. You're not making any difference whatsoever. Yeah. You're just making it worse by buying into that whole kind of corporate situation that there is. So spend your money on something like this because it's much more beneficial to the actual club itself. It doesn't mean, if you want to buy an Arsenal top as well, buy an Arsenal top as well if you want. I'm not saying don't, but make sure you buy a Dial Square top as well, and buy two. Buy one Arsenal shirt a season and buy two Dial Square tops. There you go. That's your money spent. And cancel Sky. Definitely cancel Sky as well.
Yeah.
Bob goes in the chat. Sorry, a bit late. Do you have an online shop? That's a good question. Do you have an online shop? Can people buy the shirts online?
We do, but like we said, our advice at the moment is just hang on till the new shirts come out. They'll come out in a couple of months. We're sold out of everything else we've got. When we done that, look, I don't know if you read it, but we had a little bit on the BBC done a bit on us about a month ago, yeah. And the shop just got emptied. So we've got some new merchandise coming out. The new badge will be on it, which starts next season. The new sponsorship will be on it, which starts next season. We'll get it up and running as quick as possible, but give us a couple of months.
Fantastic. I can't guarantee.
But there is a link to the shop on the Dial Square website.
Yeah, and I'll stick it on the channel as well. I mean, I can't guarantee that by coming on here that we're going to sell out your shop as well as BBC did, but we'll do our best to sell a few stuff for you. But no, I mean, it's great that I'll say it's great that you're there. It's great what you're doing, and hopefully we can get a lot more people to get involved because it's. I just think it's amazing what you're doing. And it's early days for the club as well. As you said before, it only got formed in 2020, wasn't it, when it first got formed? It's only the second season that the club's been running. So if you're getting involved now, you're getting involved at the start. Anybody that maybe understands or followed the history of Arsenal, from the Dial Square days, Woolwich Arsenal, stuff like that. Imagine if you could have been a part of that club at the beginning when it first started out, and obviously what it ended up becoming. And you can say, I was a part of that from the early days. And you can do that here. You can get involved now. And you can say that you was a part of this in the early days. When Dial Square in the Premier League in like 50 years' time or whatever, you can say I was involved in that when they were Dial Square in non-league football, and I was part of that. So it's a good time to join it, isn't it? Mark says, have you got any Dial Square mugs? That'd be good, wouldn't it? Dial Square mugs and
we have. He knows. That's Mike. He knows we have. he's just reminding me. We have got them. They've been designed. The first shipment's coming with a new badge. Let's get them on the shop. We'll get them on the shop as quick as we can, but give us a bit of time. How are you, Michael? I hope you're well, mate. Michael's one of our fan owners, by the way. He'd want me to mention that. He's just come back from Egypt. We were talking about going up the pyramid. He's just come back from Egypt. I think you got the wrong end of the stick. But yeah, we have got mugs. Like I say, just keep your eye on that shop because in a couple of months we'll have all the new merchandise with the badge, with the new sponsor. Exciting times.
Yeah, that is exciting times. Yeah, I say it's an exciting time to get involved as well. So please help out. Bongo going to say, do you ship to Switzerland? To be fair, on this channel we've got fans all over the world. So you do worldwide shipping. Yeah,
we've shipped to. I think we've shipped to America, haven't we? We've just order it. We'll ship it wherever you want it. We'll ship it.
There you go. Can't say fairer than that, can you? No matter where you are. So we've got some viewers on the channel that are all over the world, Africa and everywhere. So don't let that be a barrier to you getting stuff from the shop. They'll get it out to you. Mike says, he's good. That's good to hear. Good stuff.
All right, Michael.
Loki said that I would love to have watched us in the 1930s. Yeah, I think we all would have loved to have watched us in the 1930s. Yeah. It would have been amazing, wouldn't it? 70,000 fans at Highbury winning the league every season. It would have been, winning like 8 would have been it would have been pretty good. We've got James in the chat as well. Obviously, a friend of yours, is he, James Longdon?
Hello, James. Yeah. I hope you're well, mate.
So we're getting all the Dial Square family on watching as well, which is good.
They're all,
but I'll say the main aim is to get new people involved as well. Yeah, that's what we want to try and do. And
as many. And like I say, we don't interview you. We don't say what team do you support. It's Arsenal predominantly, but not exclusively. It's a bigger picture than that. It's about the greed in football. It's about the disillusionment that us fans have got. The ones that Kroenke calls legacy fans. He calls us legacy fans, doesn't he? It's if you want to come on board, please come with us. We're all like-minded fans. That's the key thing.
And that is what it's all about, really, isn't it? I mean, I remember Josh Kroenke a few years ago saying about, be excited. And this is something to be excited about, isn't it? So, get involved and help this little club to grow and become something what could be quite amazing in the future as well, which would be great, wouldn't it? So, and you can say you was a part of it as well. So that's
it's just watching football, basically, isn't it? Some of the pitches are dreadful we played on, aren't they? But it's just proper grassroots football. Some pitches just got a rope round it, and we're standing there, rain chucking it down, standing in the field watching football.
Yeah, and then
in life than that, really.
Yeah, and then you come down to our place. We got, like we said, you can have a beer with the players. The board will all be in there afterwards. We'll have a few beers during the game. We're always doing something different. Like I said, just like-minded fans. That's the big thing. It's all for the fans. Yeah,
exactly. And James says there, everyone welcome. I've been watching Arsenal for 52 years. The club is not the same anymore. Exactly, yeah. That's what we've been saying all the way through. It isn't the same anymore. And it's
a totally different club.
It is, yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, I think if I was sort of 10 or 11 now, I'm not sure I would support Arsenal. Because the reason why I supported Arsenal was all of that history and tradition and Highbury and all of that stuff that went with it. And that was one of the big reasons why. And I don't think now that's not there anymore. So would I still support Arsenal now if I was that age? I'm not sure if I would. I don't know. Maybe I would anyway. But I think
it might depend on which side's got the most TV coverage and who's winning what. I think the media play a big role in it as well. It used to be your local team, didn't it? But how many support their local team now? It's a global business.
It is, yeah, and it's lost a lot of what we used to love about it, hasn't it? On the back of that, really, which is a shame. Like it says there, excellent program on sale at home game. He's not the editor of the program as well, is he?
No, he's not.
No, he's not.
Okay.
But that's another. Oh, sorry, that's another thing the fans get involved in. So Stuart does the program. I'm told the program seller looks a bit like Brad Pitt. I'm the program seller, by the way. And but everyone contributes to it. All the fans, they've all done a bit in their experience. Yeah. And we've got people from different parts of the world to email us bits and bobs that we've put in there. And we encourage as many fans as possible to get involved in that. Just another thing we do.
Brilliant.
That's good.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's almost like, I suppose it's a bit like a fanzine more than a programming, is it really, perhaps?
I'll tell you what, don't tell Stuart that. It's about, it's always over 40 pages, isn't it?
Over 40 pages. It's a proper good quality programme.
Do a little bit on the opposition, interviews with players and that.
Yeah, no, it sounds really good actually. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? Obviously, James saying there, he's been watching Arsenal for over 50 years. I've been watching them for over 40 years. It sounds like you guys have as well from the late 70s and what have you. So, and this is what it's come to, isn't it? This is where we are now with it. It's just
like full circle.
Yeah, it is almost a full circle, yeah. I've got an interesting question there. He says, what can Arsenal learn from you? Well, I mean, I think we've already discovered quite a lot of things Arsenal could learn, but what do you believe Arsenal as a club could learn from what you guys are doing?
Well, fans come first. Listen to the supporters, fans come first.
Yeah. That's the big message. That's the whole thing of what that's what's behind us.
Yeah. No, what I'm saying, I think that's got to be the biggest lesson there, hasn't it? But do Arsenal care enough about the fans to be bothered? No. Probably not. That's the problem.
Because they've got enough fans that they don't really care if they lose 10, because they'll pick another 20 up from somewhere else down the road.
Yeah, I mean that's the problem, isn't it? Now people can't get tickets to the game. So if they I don't know, if 1,000 Arsenal fans thought, they're taking the piss out of me, I'm not going to come anymore. Then 1,000 tickets would just be sold by someone else.
Yeah,
yeah.
They don't get a ticket master.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
£500 each.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, Arsenal have been involved in Ticketmasters since very, very early days, haven't they? I can remember in the programme from the 1980s, Arsenal and Ticketmaster had a deal then, didn't they? For buying tickets. Yeah. So, it's nothing new, but it's just ridiculous now. Some of the prices that you can see them for. When I see Ticketmaster selling Arsenal tickets for 300 quid, and I'm thinking, you've got them from Arsenal. Arsenal have facilitated you ripping everybody off, and they don't care. Arsenal don't care about that.
They don't care. And the other thing that's more concerning to me is it's not so much the tickets; it's the way they've overcooked the memberships. It's like I said. Yeah. There was in 2010. This is when I stopped going regularly. 5,000 tickets were available to Reds members. I only ever needed a Red because I used to go on my own. So it's £36 a year for a Red, 5,000 per game. That's 95,000 tickets for league games in the season. 600,000 Red members. So that means 500,000 will pay £18 million with no chance of seeing a league game. If they said to me, there's 95,000 here, Mr. Nathan, you're like 101,000, there's a chance you ain't going to get one. Or if they said, there's no tickets this week, so it's going to underprivileged kids. That, to me, is the Arsenal way. But to overcook it by 500,000, that's the more concerning thing. So, these tickets, I've got no problem with people getting tickets. I've got a problem with the way they're overcooking big time the memberships. And that's just the Reds. I haven't even looked at the silver figures.
Well, probably worse. It'd probably be higher, won't it? I would have thought people are buying silver membership because they think they're more likely to get a ticket, and they are maybe 1% more likely. But 1% of nothing isn't very high, is it? Let's be honest.
No, it's nothing at all.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, you're right. The whole thing is ridiculous. I've only got a Red membership because it means that people can transfer tickets to me if they're swapping them on the exchange and stuff like that. Because you need to have a membership to transfer them to, don't you? That's pretty much the only reason why I got one, because I know I'm not going to get a ticket with it. I've applied enough times to know, so I've given up. It's like, but at least I can have someone transfer it to me, I suppose. So that maybe makes it worth the money if you get a couple of tickets that way for a season, I suppose. But I don't know. James says, when we came into town on our way to, everyone used to say the Arsenal here. Now it's just Arsenal PLC. The greed is coming to football. Dial is all about the fans. I heard you join us. Exactly, that's what we want to try and do, get everyone to get involved. It doesn't matter to what extent you want to be involved. If you want to buy the fan membership, do that. If you want to buy a shirt, do that. You can get a mug even. A mug will be great. I'm going to get a mug and every couple of tea on the show, and everyone can see the mug. I'm going to do that when the new ones are out. So that'll be good. Bongo Goodness says Saka needs to get his salary. Yeah, I'll get your point. Well, no, I mean, that's the problem, isn't it? Why should any player be paid how much they pay? They're only paid that much because the money's there. If the money wasn't there, they'd have to settle for a more sensible wage, wouldn't they?
Yeah, keep paying your Sky bills, and then we can pay them 200 million. So that's 200,000. Keep paying your Sky bills.
6 million a year, does he? You don't need that much money. Nobody does. Pay people a decent wage, and that's it. You know what I mean? That should be. But anyway, Loki says I'm a season ticket holder. I go to more away games. Yeah, and away games have always been better for me anyway. I've always preferred going to away games. The atmosphere and
and I bet Loki, I bet you got that feeling. I bet you get that feeling more as an away fan, not so much as a home fan. I bet you do.
Yeah,
because you get the proper fans going to away games, don't you?
Yeah,
and that is the community feel.
It's that community feel, exactly. Yeah, that's what away games have always been like. Because in relative terms, there's a lot fewer of you than the home fans, isn't there? You might have 3,000 or whatever it is, so you feel like you're more part of something, don't you? But when you're in a 60,000 stadium with 60,000 other people, you're just a little dot, don't you? No one really cares about you. And Loki says, yeah, he does. Yeah, exactly, you do. Of course you do.
Yeah.
Bongo Goody, obviously, he missed a bit earlier in the show. He says, "I'll wait to watch Dial Square online." There is actually Bongo Goody. You asked that question. There is actually. You can watch him on Twitter. Like, what was the link again?
It's Dial Square Live.
Dial Square Live. There you go. Dial Square Live. You watch the games live on Twitter, Bongo. But we're going to be streaming. What we're going to be doing? We're going to be doing what's on our channel next season of Dial Square's games. So that's going to be really good. So look out for that as well. But yeah, you can watch them. You can watch them live on Twitter as well. So.
We must mention, by the way, we've just finished our league games. So there's going to be no live league games, I'm afraid, now till September. We finished second in the league. Must say congratulations to Leyland. But yeah, we've been promoted, finishing second. But yeah, just to let you know, there won't be any more live league games this season because we finished the season.
Bit early to finish, isn't it? March?
Yeah, well, we had what they did.
League.
Yeah, they split the league in half for some peculiar reason, and now I think they're putting it back together again, aren't they, next season?
Yeah, so we didn't play the whole of December.
The non-league pyramid, what you find is it's every season they'll do some adjustment and move people about and do things. And unfortunately, you know, we've felt that the last couple of years. We're still going up the step that we need to, but it's just how and what league they're going to form is we don't know yet. We won't know till about a month, 6 weeks time, will we?
Oh, well, okay. Well, I mean, we'll keep an eye on it all anyway and see how it's going. And, you know, obviously, when all the new merchandise and stuff like that is out, which is going to be good. So, you never know, maybe in a few months' time or years' time, whatever it is, you know, if there's enough support, I could start up a North East Supporters Club branch of the Old Square Supporters Club in North East. You know, get a few of us up who live up here to get involved. You know, we can see what we can do. Bongo Luna says, when will you come to the Premier League? I'll be a little while off yet, my friend. It's not $1 million
question. Next year we start tier 11. So if Premiership's number 1, we'll be tier 11. So yeah, minimum 11 years.
Yeah, there you go. So well, we won't be too long. We'll have to wait, will we? You know, if it all goes to plan, we'll be there.
I just want, me personally, I just want an FA Cup 3rd round tie. Dale Square v Arsenal. That's the one I really want. I'll get out. I'll die happy, man.
That is the dream, isn't it? Really, that is the dream. Oh, would you like to play at the Emirates though? Would you like to play at the Emirates or not?
Let's see. No, we'd have to come down to our. We'd take them down our place.
Yeah,
we'll rough the pitch up a bit.
You'll be at Woolies though, anyway, won't you? Probably by that point, hopefully.
By that time, I mean, we got people looking at sites all the time. But, you know, land in London is at a premium anyway. You know, we can't just tip up and go, you know, we're playing here. So it's going to take a lot of negotiation. But we are actively looking at sites in and around that area.
Am I right in thinking that where the original Arsenal or Woolwich Arsenal's ground in Plumstead was, is that not a prison now? Or behind Belmarsh prison, isn't it?
You can see, I know you can see the old terrace down people's back gardens.
I'm pretty sure that where the I think it was, I don't know if it's the Manor Ground, I think it might be in Plumstead. I'm sure that I'm sure it is prison on that land or something. I'm not quite where it used to be. I'm sure it is.
It's somewhere now.
That is.
I know Dale Square's now a restaurant.
Yeah,
the actual original Dale Square is a restaurant, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah. I mean, it would be good to be back there, wouldn't it, I suppose, for the historical sense, to have a club connected to Arsenal playing in Woolwich again. I think that would be really, really good, wouldn't it? I mean, you know, people that understand the history of Arsenal and stuff, where the roots are. I mean, Tottenham would love it, wouldn't they? Because they want Arsenal to go back to Woolwich anyway, don't they? So they're probably honoured the fact that there's an Arsenal club in Woolwich.
Yeah.
I think it would be great, actually. I think that would be really good. James says, away games are better. I remember going to San Siro, that was great. By the other side of the coin, Wrexham and York, yeah, I remember them.
Yeah, I remember that.
And James, anyway, about the dial, I'm really excited to be a part of it. Yeah, of course, it sounds fantastic. James says the Manor Ground was where we were for Highbury. Yeah, that's right, yeah. And I'm sure that was where Belmarsh prison is now, or maybe even there as well. I don't know, behind there, I'm not sure. I'm sure it's around about there anyway. Loki says it's a field back in Oxford Gardens. Yeah, I think that is the Invicta ground that's got the terrace in back gardens. I think that's the Invicta ground. I don't think that's the Manor Ground. I think so, but I don't know. I've been looking into the history of Arsenal for a long time, actually, from the sort of Woolwich days, because there's not an awful lot left of it now, is there, really? So you see little clips and pictures of certain bits that were part of the club's history, like the Royal, is it the Royal Oak Pub or something that's still there, isn't it? Or is it called something else now? Probably a
It's still there, but yeah, it's all built up around it. You won't recognise it.
No, it's a shame.
Yeah, it's still there.
So it would be nice, wouldn't it, to have a football stadium back there again and have an Arsenal team playing it. I just think it would be fantastic to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it might be a few years off yet. So, but stay tuned and keep supporting the club. And I'm sure that you know, it could happen one day. And who knows, the FA Cup tie, that FA Cup tie might be there. That would be amazing. That would be really good. James says, mad to think we used to play on Plumstead Common. Yeah, I know, we did, another ground that we had back in the day. Yeah, see, it just goes so, doesn't it? From small acorn, what can grow? You know what I mean? Look where Arsenal started from and where we've got to. So, you know, why not have big plans and want to following the footsteps, if you like, but do it in the right way. That's what we want to see, don't we?
Our first pitch, when it was our first pitch was a 4G pitch, wasn't it? Behind Abbey Rangers down at Eddleston.
Yeah,
that's what it is. You can only view it from one side because it was all fenced in. So yeah, similar beginnings.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it's about, isn't it? And then, the only thing is, I mean, obviously, the dream is to get Darl Square in the Premier League eventually, but let's hope that by getting in the Premier League, you don't have to toe the line, if you like, and become what Arsenal are anyway now. Do you think what I mean? That's
the thing. We ain't going to slip into that. Well, the thing is, like I said, with the way the Darl Square enterprise is, every member would have to vote on it anyway if you wanted to change the setup. And you can't become, am I right in saying, Mark, you can't become a director, can you, unless you've been part of the enterprise to start with?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So no one could buy in like, say, Kroenkes have done, like David back in the day or whatever. I mean, that's the positive. I mean, there's no reason why in the future you can't have fan-owned clubs in the Premier League. There's no reason why you can have that. Whether or not they'd be able to, whether they'd have the money to be able to get into the Premier League and compete in the Premier League is another question, isn't it, I suppose. But technically, there's nothing to stop that, is there, really?
No, nothing at all, really.
In the Premier League, you know what I mean? There are. So, clearly no one cares who owns clubs today. It's just the money, isn't it? See, he says, my dad left me on Monday Common in my prime in 1966 while watching football on a common. Well, I hope he picked up the afterwards. He didn't leave you there.
In the days that you could.
Grew up you probably could, 1966. Was he watching the World Cup, was he? 66?
Might have been, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Monmouth Common, a famous place of football, I suppose. But yeah, who knew what was going to be coming from when Arsenal played there back in the day? Incredible, when you think about it. Anyway, it's been an absolute pleasure having you guys on site. It really has. I've really enjoyed it, and it's great that I'll say really, really supporting what you're doing, and we're going to give you lots of plugs on the channel. And I say when all the merch comes out, we'll be grading stuff around. We'll put links on everywhere so people can find you. Loki says we beat Spurs 6-1. Yeah, I think we did actually. Yeah, back in the day, wouldn't have been an North London derby then, would it? I suppose. But,
no,
we'll take a 6 against nice, a few more of them.
It's like any winning against that lot.
Wouldn't that be better, wouldn't it? Darl Square and Tottenham in the FA Cup third round, maybe.
And knock them out.
Yeah. And knock them out, yeah.
Problem.
That's where, that would be great. Now. Imagine that would be good. Get rid of another manager, then knock them out of the FA Cup, and then they stack their with whoever their manager is in like 20 years' time. Which would be quite good, wouldn't it? James says, nice to meet you. T-shirts and hoodies are available now. Are they? They won't have the new logo on yet, will they? The new stuff?
The T-shirts, haven't they? He's done some T-shirts. Better mentioning we've got a maroon one and a yellow one. They've got the badges on. They're not, again, give us a while, we'll get them on the shop. But yeah, they're available. And I think your dad's got one of the hoodies, hasn't he, Mark?
Yeah, he's got one of the hoodies, yeah.
Wore it Saturday at the game. So there is bits and pieces about. And like I say, as a fan owner, you can come up with stuff. I've tried a few bits and got some bits and pieces out there. That's what we encourage. It just makes you feel part of it. And any ideas we can put on the shop, put on the website, see what happens with it. It's all about growing the club and getting the members up and giving the fans something back.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, brilliant. So yeah, everyone get involved in that, and yeah, t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, everything. Brilliant. You can have the whole collection of Darl Square stuff in your house. It's brilliant. Yeah. You have to get like quilt covers and curtains, all that kind of stuff. I think as well. That way. You have the old bedroom in Darl Square, lampshades and a lot.
A lot.
Yeah, exactly. So, but anyway, I'll get some links put up on the channel so you guys can click on the links and have a look at the stuff when it all comes out, and that'll be good. Mike says he's got a hoodie as well. There you go. You see, the hoodies aren't they? Needing this weather at the minute, anyway. James says you can PM me and I'll all the way anytime. Well, there you go. So look out for James. Is he on Twitter? Is he James? He will be, won't he?
Yeah, he's on Twitter. I think he's down as Gooner Jim.
There you go. Follow James, give him a share, and see if you can get some hoodies and stuff. That'd be good, wouldn't it? What about flags? You got any flags? Need to get
we've got 2 flags. Yeah, I think we're the only team in our step that's got flags, and we got the original one we did last year. I've got to mention James Hodgson. Me and him done one, and it's the maroon one that says Dial Square, and on the bottom it says Keep Greed Out of Football. And then across the middle on the white, you've got the cannon facing the correct way to the left. Then you've got the Dial Square badge, which you're going to have to change, and then the poppy on it. And what I've done is that the one we put up last year, I've got all the original players and manager to sign it. And hopefully, if we get our own stadium, when we get our own stadium, that'll go up as a bit of memorabilia somewhere. And then this year, we got the bigger one, haven't we? We've got a 10-foot Dial Square flag, and then we got the other one that says, you've probably seen this at a few grounds, but ours is maroon, and it says created by the poor, stolen by the rich, keep greed out of football. And that's a big 10x6 one that goes up as well.
And a great sentiment as well, which we all agree with, I'm sure. But unfortunately, it feels like a losing battle most of the time, doesn't it, when it comes to that kind of thing? But you know,
yeah, it's in there.
But we've got to try and do what we can to reverse it. If we, we've got to do what we can. And I mean, definitely, all get behind the club, you know, and do what you can to try to support the guys and help the club to grow. And who knows where it could all lead to. But regardless of all that, you've got to remember, and I think the important thing to remember is the sentiment behind it all. And I think that is so important, that message that you just said there, big read out football. That is the biggest message that we can give out, really, isn't it? And that's what it's all about. And to do that, one of the things you can do is channel your energies more into stuff like this, as opposed to just feeding the cash cow that is Premier League football. You know, cancel your Sky subscription, use the money to invest in Dial Square. Do that instead. Wouldn't that be a better use of the money? To be honest, it would, wouldn't it? You know, rather than feeding the rich people, we'll make them richer and they don't give a shit about you. Come and support something that's worth getting behind. You know, give your money to something worthwhile. That's what I would suggest you do. But I don't know how many people will choose to do that, but who knows? We can get a few to do it. That's what we're going to see. Someone going says, "What do you partners think of all your? What do you partners think of all your effort? Sure, 100% support. Yeah, exactly. It's about, isn't it? It's all about doing what you can do and trying to help. Yeah, we'll do what we can. Terry says, good evening, Richard, Marc and Dave. Very entertaining, even emotional. The good old days. Looking forward to seeing you again soon. And take care of it. Yeah, see you later, Terry, mate. We'll be back on having vehicle. James says, every club needs to do this. Exactly, yeah, you're right. But the big clubs won't do it, will they? Because they benefit too much from all the greed, unfortunately. But yeah, I think all the smaller clubs definitely get behind it. More and more fans of the Premier League clubs that feel in this way, instead of moaning about it, saying I'm not happy with it, get involved in something like this, do something. It's important to help, you know. That's what we can do. Who knows? Maybe
that's exactly it.
That's what we've got to do. And maybe eventually one day this might become the new normal, if you like, the way that people want to watch football and the way that people want to be involved in football. It might become what people want to do instead. That would be a massive positive. Loki says, I used to play at Market Road, Hornsey Astro Turf, a real leg shredder. Yeah, the old Astro Turf.
That was lethal.
Your knees will be knackered for a week, but yeah, it's a bit.
No sliding seconds.
No, exactly. The sort of the pitches these days, the Astro pitches are better, aren't they? Better quality and stuff now. And
yeah, they're a lot better than these,
aren't they? Yeah, they're still not great, but they're better than James says it's just a start. Exactly, it's just a start. Yeah, it's a great time everyone to get involved because it is a start. And, you know, would you rather go down and say this is what I did to help football, rather than saying, well, I paid Sky subscription for 10 years and I had a red membership at Arsenal for 10 years, I've got no tickets. Would you rather say that you've done something more important? That's a bigger thing, but you know, you can make that choice. I'm just trying to guide you along the right path, and you get involved. But yeah, it's been brilliant. Thanks to Marc and Dave obviously coming on tonight, chatting about Dial Square and a little trip down memory lane that we've had as well, which always enjoy on this show in particular. We love the old days, the good old days that we call them, even though some of them weren't particularly good, but we look on them as being good every now when we look back. And it's great to have everyone. I say we will be definitely supporting the club. We'll be doing what we can here to try to get more and more support for you guys as well.
Thank you. Thanks for having us on. Thank you very much.
Bongo Goodness is very interesting. Same hours late. Thank you, Rich, Mark and Dave. I'll see what I can do. Wishing you a good evening. Mark says, adios, chef. Yeah, thank you everyone for watching. If you've enjoyed the show, give us a like, subscribe to the channel. I'll start putting some links on to all the stuff for Dial Square, so for the shop and the website and all that kind of stuff. And obviously, when the games are back on, we will get the live streams going as well, and so you can all watch the games together. That'll be good fun. We can have some fun with that, I'm sure. Loki says, top show, Richard, Dave and Mark. Well done, Richard. Go into the website now. I see you've got someone on there already. So, you know, we'll try some traffic there, don't worry. We'll get people involved. And hopefully we'll get a few more members out of it as well, hopefully, as we go along. But yeah, we'll keep doing what we can. It's been great. James says, see you on the 25th of April, Dave. Is that where you got your end of season get together? Is it 25th of April?
That is, isn't it? 22nd.
Yeah, it's 22nd, yeah.
22nd, yeah. Don't come down on the 25th, mate. You'll be on your...
There'll be no one there.
James will be late then by the look of it. So there you go.
Yeah, he's late
for the end of season too. So you need
to come and tidy up.
Yeah, we will. Yeah, probably need to tidy up by then, won't it?
Yeah.
When does the season start? In September, did you say? The new season.
Yeah, we won't know exactly till nearer the time, but yeah, but September, mid-September normally.
Cool. Okay. James put it 22nd. Yeah, he said, just don't be late for that. So, but yeah, everyone get involved in Dial Square. It's a brilliant club. It's brilliant stuff that they're doing, and you know, all get involved. It is definitely worthwhile. So thanks to Mark and Dave and everybody else involved in Dial Square. Everyone in the chat that's been involved in Dial Square as well. We'll do what we can at our end to try to get a bit more support for you guys. Try to get a lot more people involved if we can as well. And yeah, we look forward to the new season starting in September. Get behind you guys as well. And another thing to look out for results for is in the season, isn't it? You know, every week you can look out for our Dial Square as well. Know that you've been a part of helping them along the way. So it's been good fun. Thanks for joining us. I'll say thanks to you two guys. I'm back Wednesday at 4:08. The Arsenal women are playing in the Champions League against Bayern Munich. That's going to be good. So join me for that. And then we've got a big weekend, haven't we? Arsenal versus Leeds in the Premier League.
Yeah.
We're playing on Sunday against Man City. Lots of good stuff coming up. Unfortunately, there is no Dial Square games at the moment, but there will be soon. We can enjoy them as well. Even more stuff to add on, and all that kind of stuff. So we will see you very soon. I'll be back Wednesday. I'll say thanks to everyone at Dial Square. You've gained some new supporters tonight, I'm sure, and hopefully a few more going forward as well. And we'll see you all very soon. In the meantime, come on, you guys, let's do it. Well, what's the nickname, by the way, Dial Square? Have you got a nickname for the club?
No.
Say up the dial.
The dial with just a dial.
Yeah.
Sort of. We did have the only thing we did have was we were talking about a mascot, because if you look at the old royal coat of arms at Woolwich, we couldn't work out if they were leopards or lions. I think they're leopards. I don't know what the significance is, I really don't, but that was going to be the mascot. That was the only thing we really spoke about. But yeah, we'll have to think of something.
Yeah, you need a nickname, don't you? Every club's got a nickname, haven't they?
Every club's got one. Yeah. We'll think of one.
Yeah, open to suggestions.
We'll put it.
Yeah.
Yeah, become a member, and if you've got a good nickname, become a member, and then you can suggest it, and you might get voted in, and then you might come up with a new nickname for the club. So we'll do that. That'd be pretty good. So, yeah. The letters, that'd be good, wouldn't it? James says, we are the dialers. There you go, the dialers. That's pretty good. There you go. Until we come up with a better one, that'll do. Anyway, thanks to you guys for coming on. Brilliant stuff. We look forward to getting more involved in the future. We'll see us. I'll see you Wednesday for the women's game. Yeah, guys, take it easy. Thanks for watching.
All the best.
See you later. Bye.
Real Martinelli. It's now with Granit Xhaka. Is it going to be the
Thank you, Richard. Cheers, mate.
Granit Xhaka with it. That seems